day today, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Frosty, admittedly. I had to defrost the car this morning, but oh my word, the sunshine has come up.
There's a certain thing we can say today as well.
Oh, what?
We can say today that next month is officially
spring.
Spring.
Yay! Welcome, everybody. Thank you for your company. I hope it is a glorious sunny day where you are as well. Admittedly, a little bit cold this morning, but it's going to warm up and it's going to be beautiful. We love it when you send us your weather reports. So join the chat on Facebook, on YouTube. Send us any emails you want to. The email address is on the bottom of the screen right there. I can see that we've got... Oh, these are old. I say old. There was a couple of ones that came in on Saturday, so I will have a quick look at those and we'll see if those can be spoken about this morning. But if you want to send us any pictures, any questions, any comments, please do get involved either on email or on the YouTube chat or on the Facebook chat. Adam is here.
How you doing, Bex? Oh,
he has abandoned,
as always,
his shirt today.
I know. I've got to go for a jumper today. Jumper and an under t-shirt.
Shirts will be back soon, don't you worry. We're a little bit chilly this morning, but it'll warm up.
Yeah.
Right, let's let you know all of the details that you need to know. Welcome to the Potting Shed. First of all, we are here to talk about all things gardening. Stu just said something in my ear. I need to turn him up. Hello. So we're here to talk about all things gardening. We've got lots of different things for you. We've got perennials. We've got summer bedding. We've got bulbs for summer flowers. We've got the most amazing peony. I'm so happy it's still back. We've got in the green. We've got the snowdrops and we've got the bluebells. We've got standards coming up for you. We've got grow your own. We've got even roses coming up for you. One of my personal favourites that I've got in my garden. I'm very, very excited to tell you about all of this. We're here to answer all your questions. We are here to provide you with some amazing deals as well. First thing you need to know is you are going to get free postage on anything you see within this show. Doesn't matter the size of your order, you can come in and you can buy one item, you'll get free postage. That means you can shop to your heart's content, you can place as many orders as you want throughout the 3 hours that we are going to be here with no worry about any postage costs. We'll be here until 12:30. There's a code you can see on the bottom of the screen, it's just there. You need to enter that code when you place your order. That gives you your free postage. It unlocks all the deals that we've got as well. We've got double up deals, we've got prices off, we've got all sorts of things. And actually, another bit of news for you today, the phone line is open from today on a Sunday. So if you do like talking to people, then you're more than welcome to use the phone line, or you can go to YouGarden.com to place your orders. What else do I need to tell you? Oh, we've got an amazing club. So we've got this discount club that you can join, and you can join it today and you will get discount on your first order. Now, there's two prices that you can see here. You want the yellow one, don't you? That yellow one is a much better price than the one in red right there. You're going to get 15% off everything that you see within this show. How exciting. You'll still get the free postage as well. We've also got some free gifts with a few of the items coming up within the show too. So I can't see why you wouldn't want to stick with us for the next 3 hours. I think that's all I need to tell you for now. Adam?
Might have some vouchers.
Vouchers.
Should we have some
vouchers?
Might have some vouchers, some
£5
vouchers.
That's the other thing. Yes, you're right. Thank you. So within the club, you not only get the 15% discount, a pack will come out to you in the post. You'll get £20 worth of YouGarden vouchers that you can spend throughout the year. It breaks down into £5, 4 £5 ones. The secret there is you can spend those in one day if you want to. It's one per order, but if you place 4 orders in a day, you can spend them all in one day. Plus, an additional thing that we've added into the club this year is you'll get 2 postage vouchers as well, worth £6.99 each. So if you're shopping the rest of the YouGarden website, if you're buying your summer plugs and everything now that we haven't got on the show, and you're paying postage on those, you can get rid of that postage cost. Right, what is the thing in today's show that you are most excited about showing people?
I love that rose.
Which one?
Which name I've just... the Double Delight.
Yes,
that's
Adam,
the one. Yes.
you are right. That is my favourite one. You are correct.
I do
that's
love that.
One in the middle, guys.
The Double Delight. Yeah. And also the Bluebells, because I absolutely adore Bluebells.
Me too.
There's where I live in Swaffham, there's a shop, and in the window it's just this huge picture of a spring woodland with beech trees and then a bluebell, like, you know, underneath, thousands of them. And every time I drive past, I think, oh, that is such a beautiful, fabulous, gorgeous time of year. So, yeah, so there's 3 actually. I'll do 3. It's quick. It's the rose.
There's 3, greedy.
It's the rose, it's the bluebell, and the peony.
well done for picking the peony.
Yeah, they're my three.
All right, well, we are going to be going to the peony first. That is the most important one we need to show you. That was the biggest one for us earlier on in the week, so we're very excited. If you want to get ahead of us, you go to YouGarden.com. That's the little button you're looking for, live now. It might be in a slightly different place, depending on whether you're on a phone, tablet or whatever. Just click on that. That's where you can then scroll down. You can watch the show from there on the YouGarden website. You can put it on your big telly, though. If you've got YouTube, you know, and you've got smart apps on your telly, you can just watch it on the big telly like normal telly. And then all you have to do then is scroll down, and these are all the items that we have selected for the show today that will be delivered to you with no postage costs. How very exciting. Now, we've got a certain order we're planning on going through things in, but if you want to ruin it, we're open to that. If you see something that you particularly want to see and you want to see it now, then let us know. Send a message on the YouTube chat, Facebook chat, send an email. We'll bring it up for you. We'll talk about it. We don't mind. You can be in control. It's not a problem. However, this one we need to talk to you about straight away, and this is the one that we're going to show you probably the most during our 3 hours with you, because this was the most popular. I'm so excited to talk about this one because this is your peony, and it's called Girl Next Door. It's bare roots, and you're going to get 4 of them. Let me just reiterate that, because there's 4 bare root peonies here for $14.99, $12.74 if you're in the club. So the price that we've got on this is incredible. But let's just talk about the stunning beauty of Girl Next Door, shall we?
I mean, it is absolutely stunning. Those flowers, Bex, when you look at it, those flowers remind me of some sort of luxurious sort of strawberry dessert that's got a fabulous cream filling in the middle.
Definitely.
And I mean, these flowers are absolutely gorgeously spectacular. The fact that they're these sort of bi-coloured flowers, pink at the bottom, then that sort of white middle layer, and then pink on the top.
It's like a beautiful sandwich, isn't it?
Yeah, almost like a sort of a ballerina's dress almost. It's got
tutu,
that,
yes.
Yeah, it's got that kind of tutu
frills.
look to it, isn't it? And another amazing thing about this peony is it doesn't actually only look fantastic, it smells fantastic.
Yes.
It's got an absolutely gorgeous sweet fragrance as well. So you've got that double whammy of spectacular flowers and fabulous fragrance. Voice went there for a minute. And there's your bare root. Doesn't look very inspiring, but we know, Bex, don't we, that bare roots actually develop and become very, very fabulous established plants very quickly.
They do, and I just want to show you the quality of the bare roots that we're talking about here. And there's 4 in that packet, but as you can see on this one, you can see these lovely pink shoots that are coming off here. I mean, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 for definite coming off that one. And that's where that new growth is going to come from when you get this planted. So very simple, isn't it, to plant a bare root?
Yeah, I mean, with these as well, peonies, one important thing with peonies is they hate being planted too deep. If you plant them too deep, they won't flower. They'll be really reluctant to flower. So I would suggest when you plant those bare root, I would plant it with that little kind of red tip just coming above soil level.
Oh, would you do it just above?
Yeah,
okay.
Just coming through, basically, because if you look at some peonies in people's gardens now, you can already see
little shoots start to appear.
Yeah, the little shoots are just coming through. I noticed it this week. So yeah, I'll plant them just with that red bud, just pushing through, firm the soil down, and I know it sounds a bit weird because we've had so much rain, but water them in as well, because that will get all the soil to compact nicely around the root.
Gets rid of air bubbles and things,
air pockets and stuff. Yeah, and then it can root in nicely. Can't guarantee it would flower this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they do, but for the next up to 50 years, peonies are long lived. Every year you'll get fabulous flower. For a sort of 3 or 4 weeks, make gorgeous cut flowers. And even the foliage is beautiful on these as well.
And you're going to get loads of flowers as well. Don't think this is just a couple of flowers that you get. Once this gets established, you can get, 20, 30 flowers?
Easily, because I've seen really happy peonies, Bex, with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stems.
Yes.
And each stem will have half a dozen or so flowers on it, if not more.
And of course, that's per plant. Just bear in mind, there's 4 bare roots in here. So if you're planting all 4 in your garden, then you're talking a lot of peonies. Now, I think that peonies work best in borders, personally, but this one's relatively compact. You could potentially grow it in a large pot, couldn't you?
I have seen peonies grown in pots, a nice large pot, but of course another option as well, because you're getting 4 of these, you could, if you wanted to, have 2 or 3, in your ornamental part of the garden. You could plonk another one in your allotment or somewhere like that and have it for cut flowers, so you can have them indoors and outdoors.
Well, I'm certainly going to get hold of these, hopefully, as long as there's some stock left. I think we've got some stock, but then it goes on to pre-order. Am I right, Stu, or am I making that up? I am right. Okay, good. I thought my memory was working. But we do have a bit of stock of this, and then we will go on to a pre-order. So there is more coming in, but obviously you want to get these home as soon as possible, don't you? It will tell you on the website when you place your order. Now, I am going to get an order of these, but we are planning on moving home this year. So I am not planting them in the ground because I'm not leaving them behind.
No.
So I will be growing mine in pots, certainly starting them off.
With the pre-orders, we know when they eventually go out on the pre-order, or we're not sure at the minute?
Sure. When it goes live, the website will tell us.
Cool.
So we will find out when we go to that. But we'll give you any ideas of stock warnings and things. I think we've got a decent stock, but we will give you an idea if it is getting low on that one. Right, so the price is normally £24.99. We've brought it down to £14.99. It's £19.99 on the website, by the way. So you're saving £5 from our own YouGarden website, but on the website you will still pay postage. By being a YGTV customer, you get this at £12.74 if you're a club member, and you won't pay any postage on that either. Let's have a little look. This is how we do it. So we've gone in, we've put the code of the peony in, we've added that into our basket. It's £19.99. But this is where you enter the offer code, which is YGTV052424. Sorry, we're in 25 now, aren't we? I have lost a year. 0525. If you're on the phones, tell them the code so that they can apply these offers for you. Click apply code, and let's have a little look at what happens. Price goes down by £5. Postage has disappeared. You are getting that home for £11.99 saving. Now, of course, you want to join the club. It will cost you £10 to join, but that's a one-off cost, and that lasts you for the full 12 months. So you'll be saving £2.25 today, and then every time you place an order, you'll save your 15%. You will get that £10 back very, very quickly. For example, if you were just to order 6 bags of compost in 1 year, which we're all likely to do, that will have got your cost of your club membership back. So it really does work out for pretty much every gardener, I would suggest.
And then it stays the same, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you lock in your price for the club membership as well. If we ever put it up in the future, you will lock in that that £10 price. Right, we've got to move on. I've spent enough time on there. We will come back to it because it was the most popular on Thursday. It's going to be the most popular this Sunday as well.
Just one quick thing on these as we move on.
Yeah, go.
Don't forget to put a bamboo cane in next to these when you plant them, so you remember where they are.
I've done it. I've dug up their roots by mistake in the past.
So annoying.
I've done it myself. So yeah, do make sure you mark your spot. Right, let's move on to another one, which is the perfect time to get hold of right now. And I'm super excited about these because I planted these for the first time last year. And I had some amazing displays just in the first year. It's our Skyscraper lily collection. And in here, you're going to get 5 different varieties, 3 of each. And these are what we would describe as tree lilies.
Yeah, I mean, for a good reason, because these can get up to 2 metres tall. I mean, these are really phenomenal. We're not going to say they're going to race up to 2 metres in the first year, but I mean, well, Bex, yours did really well in the first year, didn't they?
So it got up to nearly my height in the first year. I'm 5'6", so I would suggest mine got to 5 foot definitely in the first year. I've kept they're in pots, and I did put 5 in one pot, so I probably need to separate them. They did all right last year, but I probably do need to separate them now. But yeah, they got up to about 5 feet in the first year. And the great thing with these is they not only get tall, but you get loads of flowers, don't you?
And you get fragrant flowers.
Yeah.
So you might get sort of 15, 20 flowers on one of these stems eventually when they're really, really mature. You get absolutely incredible fragrance. And, to get these going really, really quick, what I'd suggest is when you plant the lilies, incorporate lots of really good organic material into the soil at the time. Some of our compost would do really, really well. Get loads of that compost into the soil when you plant the lilies. Put some fish blood and bone or bone meal or chicken manure down on top after you planted and just water that in. And that way these lilies will really zoom away, give you these dramatic results. And the great thing about lilies is they're good for planting amongst other things, and these ones in particular giving you that height drama. And the reason I say that is because look at the ones growing there in the picture. Oh, well, what Stu's done there is plant them in the perfect position because they love to have their bulbs shaded and cool in the ground, but they like to have their flower heads up in the sunshine. So they're absolutely loving being underneath that palm tree, underneath that Camarops, because the bulbs are all cool and moist and out of the sun, but they're luxuriating up top because they're right out in front of that blue sky. So, if you want some real drama from lilies, literally lilies can get a couple of foot tall. I think we've got a picture of a lady standing underneath one, haven't we? And she's almost like looking up into the flowers. But yeah, I mean, we've got we've got. Now I'm going to pronounce that as saltarello.
I always say saltarello.
Saltarello.
Yeah.
And we've got Amarossi and Manisa and Robina and Matisse.
This
Beautiful.
one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I love them all, don't get me wrong, but this one, I think, the Matisse, this is generally everybody's favourite. You know, that just, the bicoloured blooms on there. Genuinely or generally everybody's favourite. I don't mind which one you use. But yeah, just the bicoloured blooms on there, I think it's really stand out. But all of them sort of mixed together, the lovely colours that you've got. It's 3 of each. They're under £1 each. They're amazing. 650806 is the item number if you want to go for those, and it's a £23 saving on there as well. So really good saving. You are shopping ahead. Thank you very much for doing that. That gives an idea of what we need to go to. So that's really good. You found the double freesias, so lovely fragrant flowers for you there as well. Let's move on to the bluebells, shall we? We've also got snowdrops for you that are both in the green. And in the green is important when it comes to bluebells and snowdrops, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because some bulbs, for example, like bluebells and snowdrops, they hate being out the ground for a long period of time. So, you know, sometimes you go to the garden centres, you might see packs of bluebells or packs of snowdrops, and they've been in those little plastic packs for like months and months and months on end. They dehydrate, they dry out, and I'm not saying they won't grow, but they struggle to grow from that point once the bulbs have dried out. So if you buy them in the green while they're actively growing, and that can be just before they flower or just after they flower, they transplant much more easily. They establish much more easily, and you can actually get, you know, plants in the green that will flower in the first year because they're already got all the energy and the flower in the middle there. That picture we've got there, that's just like in that shop window in Swaffham. and every time I drive past it, I mean, when it's actually bluebell time, I think, oh, thank goodness it's like that now. But the amount of time, I drove past it this morning and I looked at it and I thought, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful? Because it's just behind some traffic lights. So I always just look and think, can't wait for that magical time of year when you've got those purple carpets, that gorgeous fragrance. And of course, they're loved by pollinators as well, bluebells. And there's just something, I don't know, there's just something you can't describe about the feeling of seeing bluebells. It just, I think it brings back memories of childhood and spring and
I really like
and
that they are very much part of our heritage in the UK.
Yeah.
That, you know, there's various different varieties, but there's native varieties, obviously. And actually, I was reading this really interesting article about it a while ago, and how over half of the world's bluebells, the bluebell population, is found here in the UK.
It is, yeah.
I like planting all sorts of things in my garden, no matter where they come from, but I do actually really enjoy the fact that there are, you know, native to us.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about these, Bex. So that's another important point, because these are our native bluebells, Hyacinthioides non-scripta. There are also Spanish bluebells, which unfortunately have crept in. And the sad thing about that is they're cross-pollinating with our native bluebells, and we're ending up with kind of a hybrid that isn't one or the other. So, you know, it's really good and really great to be planting our own native bluebells. And you can tell the difference, because our native ones, the flower comes up and it droops over at the end, whereas the Spanish ones, they tend to be more upright, the flowers, like a gladioli spike, if you like. So that's how you can tell the difference. But, you know, these are in the green. In fact, which we'll just show you some.
Sorry.
Let's just dive in there. You can just see the gorgeous little shoots on there. So there you go. I mean, they're in the green, they're live, they've got roots on, and these are not going to be stressed out like the bulbs, because these haven't been sort of dried out, really dried out. These are actively growing. So as soon as you pop these back in the ground, and I would pop them in the ground up to the point where you see where the little stem is white. I would put them in the ground up to the point where it starts to turn green. So about that height is where I'd sort of, or that depth is where I'd put them down to, and just leave the green leaves above the ground, because bluebells actually start to come into leaf quite a few months before they actually flower. And I think the reason for that is because they can't photosynthesize once they're finished flowering, because the tree canopy comes out and it gets dark.
Yeah.
So they do it before. They build up their energy before they flower, rather than after, like daffodils or tulips.
I love them. They spread. They create beautiful displays. You can put them in the ground where they will spread, but you could even keep these in pots as well. You will need to divide them, obviously, if you keep them in pots, because they do like to spread. But yeah, you can happily keep them in pots if you would like to. 630011 is the item number. It's a £5 saving on there. You're going to get 25 of those bulbs. They are in the green, which helps to ensure that success. Now, if you'd like snowdrops to go with your bluebells, we do also have those in the green as well. That's a 50 pack, so it's exactly the same story here. Obviously earlier flowering and white rather than blue, but yes, they are still in the green, so helping you to ensure success, and they will spread. I love them because they are the bravest of all of the bulbs that you can plant in your garden, coming out earliest. £19.99, £2 saving there. 630009 is the item number. Quick reminder for you, just on that sorbet peony, that lovely girl next door. It is 4 bare roots, £10 saving, £12.74 if you're in the club, and the item number is 580077. Go to the website to place your order. Or, hot news, as of today, on a Sunday, the phone lines are once again open for the gardening season. So it's up to you. Just make sure you tell the operator that you'd like to use the code YGTV0525. We'll come back to that in a little while. But let's move on to our strawberry, which is called Pineberry. And yes, it is a strawberry. I know it doesn't look massively like a traditional strawberry, but it does taste very much like a strawberry with a hint of pineapple. Hence the name Pineberry.
Yeah.
But you treat them exactly the same, don't you?
You do, yeah. Just as well you grow ordinary strawberries. So, if you grow strawberries, you grow them in soil with lots of nice organic material, nice sort of moist kind of soil. And these are good as well, because I tell you what, the birds don't go for these, because the birds look at these and they think, oh, those strawberries aren't ripe. I'm not going to attack those strawberries. They're not ripe yet. So you don't have to net these like you do, because obviously when you get gorgeous bright red strawberries, the birds are in there straight away pecking at the strawberries. But these are bare root. And I've been doing some videos and stuff about bare root this week, because I can totally understand how to some people, when you look at bare root plants, it's really sort of counterintuitive, because you're thinking, hold on a minute.
How is that going to survive?
Yeah, how are they going to survive?
When it's not in compost?
Yeah. When I was a kid and I pulled up a plant in the garden, my mum told me off. That plant's going to die now because you pulled it up and all the roots are exposed to the air. Well, if you did that in mid-June, that would be the case. But because we're at this time of year where these are dormant, it actually means they don't know they've been lifted out the ground. So they can be bare root for quite a long time. Give them a soak before you plant them back in the ground, so incorporate some good organic material around them as well. They'll get established, they'll grow away this year. I would not be surprised at all you have strawberries or pineberries this year, in the first year. And then for a good 4 or 5 years, you can have pineberries year after year after year. They'll send out little runners as well, and you can make sort of fresh plants, because sometimes it's quite good with things like strawberries or pineberries to renew your original plants.
Yeah, because you get your best crops, don't you? So year 1 and 2, you'll get some decent crops, but it's really sort of years 3 and 4 where you get the biggest amount of crops. So if you think about cutting those runners and always having a running supply, so that you've always got a plant that's in year 3 and 4 to ensure that you get the biggest, crops of strawberries. It's the best way of doing it. You can grow them in pots. You can even grow them in hanging baskets. You can grow them in the ground if you want to. So these are really versatile. They'll go in so many different places, and they're super easy, winter hardy, easy to look after. 320099 is the item where you're going to get 20 runners. Now, Amanda has a question about the peony. I assume she's on Facebook. She normally watches on Facebook. So what's Amanda's question? How many of these could go in a heavy-duty pot for the time being? So I'm assuming she's thinking about moving them later on.
I would say if you're going to move them if you're going to move them before this time next year, I'd say you could probably put all four in one pot. Yeah. And then, because they're not going to mature to a huge peony in year 1. I mean, they will grow, obviously, but after, if you moving them this time next year, they'll still be established enough that you can sort of take them out, split them up and replant them. But if it's longer than that, then I would suggest,
2 a pot, maybe.
2 a pot, max.
Yeah. So bear it in mind. So I'm going to be moving, fingers crossed, hopefully. And so I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing, Amanda. So, I was debating whether to put 2 each in 2 heavy-duty pots, because hopefully by this time next year, that's exactly when I would be moving them. So yeah, it's up to you. Maybe 2 in 2 pots or 4 in 1 pot.
There is that, and I'm going to say it's nonsense as well. There is that saying that if you move a peony, it won't flower for, is it 7 years or so, they say?
No, but I think they might sulk a little, that's all. Not 7 years. I know. That's crazy, isn't it?
I've transplanted peonies for people and they've flowered the next year.
There you go. All right. You know, take it from Adam. Yeah. He knows what he's talking about.
And like anything you want to transplant, like our pineberries, for example, if you do it now, while they're dormant.
Yeah, they don't care, do they?
They don't care, they're not bothered. Yeah. You know, if you move a peony, I don't know, kind of end of June, beginning of July.
Yeah, it's not going to like it much.
Or a euphorbia. Who'd move a euphorbia when it's like growing really, really well? I mean, you know, if you move it the wrong time of year, it's going to show off. But, you know, if you move them when they're dormant, they're absolutely fine.
It recovered.
Luckily.
It's fine. It's all good. All right, so hopefully we've helped you out there, Amanda. Any other questions, do let us know. We're here for you. We're here to answer any questions you might have. Right, let's move on then, because this stayed on the favourite stable, and it's the hardy geranium pack. 10 bare roots included in here. This is a value thing for you, because you're going to get 10 of these for, if you're in a club, £14.44. It's £1.44 each. And if you then, oh, by the way, that price is on the website, but you'll pay postage if you order it on the website. Use our code and then you will get the free postage included. Plus, as a club member, obviously, you get that extra discount. Now, this becomes even better value when you think about the flower power. And I don't mean just the amount of flowers, I mean the length of the flowering season that you get from hardy geraniums. Yeah, and it's weird because I remember in a previous life when I used to bring these, or used to bring them to out, these always used to sell out. Yeah. And I think the reason being, first of all, is the colour mix. I mean, the colour mix is absolutely beautiful. But the ease of growth of hardy geraniums, that's the thing, that you plant them, you leave them, and that's pretty much it, isn't it? There's so minimum input, aren't they? I always talk about how you're supposed to deadhead geraniums, and I will give the advice, deadhead your geraniums. I've never once deadheaded my geraniums. No, you don't need to. I mean, with these, you know, you plant them, they get established, and they'll grow almost anywhere, apart from deep shade. They're not particularly fussed about soil. They don't like really waterlogged soils, but generally they'll grow in most soils. They're growing quite poor soils generally as well. Yeah. And these geraniums, I mean, I think we're going to bring you geranium rozanne, aren't we, later on as well? We are in a bit, yeah. Now, rozanne is a really big, vigorous kind of geranium, but these are much more ground-hugging. These are much lower growing. So if you've got a rockery, for example, if you've got fronts of beds and borders, if you want to grow these in pots or troughs, you could even grow these in a hanging basket. They would work in a hanging basket. And they form like kind of little hummocks, little sort of cushions of flower that sort of spread out. Stu said, what's a hummock? Is it a word you've made up? It's like a little mound. It's like, you know, a little hummock. Like a hillock? A hillock, all right. I don't know, a hummock. Have you made that word up? I might have made it up. It's a word I use. I say a little hummock. Like, probably, if you Google it, you probably won't find it. I want to search it up now and see if it's a real word. Well, I use it. I like it. And that's the great thing about these. And they flower for month after month after month after month. Yeah, honestly, from like June onwards, I mean, maybe even a little bit earlier. Right up into the autumn. But June, July, August, September, October, November. Rozanne was going right into November. Like, you know, when we had that really hard frost, was it end of November, early December? You had some light ones in October, didn't we? In November. That's when it was right at that hard frost. That's when they kept going until. Yeah. But honestly, months and months and months, and I did nothing. You don't. Nothing. And they're really drought tolerant as well. Once they're established, they're super, super drought tolerant, and they're loved by pollinators. So the bees love these. All the pollinating insects go mad for them. So if you've got a space you want to cover, if you've got poor soil, these do quite well on poor soils. I've seen these type of geraniums they're almost like the cranesbill type of geraniums. I've seen them do really well on rockeries, really dry, gravelly, kind of stony soils, sandy soils. And if you bought these in the summer, growing in pots, you might pay £6, £7, £8 each for these. So when you get the 10 of these bare root, it's such a huge saving. It really is a massive saving, honestly, and you're getting 10 of them included. £14.44 if you are a club member. And of course, remember, there is absolutely no postage to pay on any of your orders. Doesn't matter the size, you don't have to get to over £40 like you used to. You can come in and buy one item if that's what your budget allows for this week. So brilliant. Everything just got better in 2025, didn't it? 580009 is the item number if you want to go for your hardy geraniums. Now, you might want some compost to go with it, and that's where we're headed to next. But before we do that, you're talking to us, so we would like to talk to you as well. So, Elaine, good morning to you.
Hi, Elaine.
Thank you, Elaine. Normally always the first one in the chat. Grimmy says, good morning, Bex, Adam, Stu, Elaine, and fellow gardeners. Good morning to you as well.
Morning, folks.
Grimmy's got a question. I'm not good with conifers, so you might be better on this one. So I mean, I've got a couple of, but they're easy. Hi, Adam and Bex. My son's garden has a large conifer hedge or tree, not sure which, that needs pruning or trimming. When is the best time to do it? I don't want to damage the tree or disturb nesting birds.
Right. Quite often they say to trim conifers sort of mid to kind of later summer.
Right.
Which is quite a good time to do conifers. I mean, yeah, because the birds are going to start nesting. Well, I've already seen at work the birds are already collecting moss and bits of twigs and stuff. So I think, you know, the nesting season gets earlier and earlier. And you need to be careful kind of what sort of conifer it is as well, because some conifers like yew, for example, or thuya, you can cut right back into the woody part of the conifer.
Yeah, and some you absolutely can't, can you?
Things like Lavender, for example, if you go back into the brown material, it won't regrow, it will just stay brown. So wait until the birds have finished nesting. So I would wait until sort of end of June, sort of into July, and then just sort of gently clip, but don't go back into the brown material, just gently sort of clip and shape. And generally, with most sort of conifer hedges, I find you don't really need to trim them more than once a year, really. Well, I did some for a lady last year, and I did those. They were about mid-summerish, mid to kind of getting on to later summer. Trimmed them, and they're looking great even now because they didn't regrow.
Yeah.
So, you know, they will have that sort of initial surge of spring growth, but of course you can trim that off in the summer, and then they'll stay neat all the way through to the following year. But just bear in mind what sort of conifer it is. Don't go too severe.
All right, Grimmy, hopefully we helped you there. So a few emails. Tony sent us an email yesterday. Unfortunately, he's struggling with his health. So Tony has the lovely pot garden. He only started recently. But he's saying, unfortunately, his health has deteriorated and he's going to be struggling to look after his pots and things. So I'm sorry to hear that, Tony. He does say that he'll do what he can, obviously, and he'll send us some pictures. But he does have a question. So the wind that we had has wrecked two of my cordylines. The Lime Passion is not too bad, but the little red star has been flattened. Will they recover?
Yeah, well, if it's been snapped off at the base, it may reshoot, which they do that. Cordylines do that. If you've got lots of leaves that have all been kind of torn and ripped and stuff, what I'd suggest is if you can, get a bamboo caning down the side of it and just secure it a little bit at the base to try and stop it wobbling about too much. And I will just leave it for the time being. But once we get into spring and it's actively growing again, just sort of cut off the outer really sort of damaged, sort of frazzled looking sad leaves, and hopefully it should start growing again from the middle. So yeah, that's the thing. You see, these days, we're going ahead, so much of the advice we're going to give and the way we think about so many different things is going to have to change because the weather conditions now are so unpredictable, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, but
I quite like it that it's part of the challenge of gardening as well. I quite like
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, things just don't work and you have to find a different way around it. If everything worked perfectly all the time, it'd be a bit boring,
It would be a bit boring, and plants are adaptable, and plants want to live, they want to survive. So,
They do.
So yeah, just to recap, if it's snapped off at the base, leave it, just be patient with it. Hopefully it might reshoot in the spring, but as I say, if it's just looking really damaged and raggedy, just try and secure it a little bit for the time being, and then once it starts actively growing again, take off those outer leaves, and hopefully the middle part will grow up and start giving you some nice fresh leaves.
He has sent us a lovely picture of his garden here with a few of the cordylines in there. That's the beautiful Nandina, isn't it? Yeah, he's got the Nandina Firepower, the Euphorbia Black Pearl in there as well. Am I sharing, Stu? I thought I was. Oh, I am. There you go. So we've got the euphorbia in there as well. There's loads of beautiful plants. All the pots he's bought from us too. His garden is beautiful. So you've done a really good job there, Tony. I'm sorry to hear that your health has deteriorated. I hope you'll still be able to do bits and pieces. He's basically turned his entire patio just into a garden, which is beautiful, isn't it?
I mean, one other bit of advice I could give you quickly, you know, if you're not going to be able to get in the garden so much and water things quite so often, think about incorporating to the top of some of your pots some of that swell gel, for example.
Oh yeah, that helps.
That helps, you know, because that absorbs water, and it means sort of less watering. So, you know, I know what it's like when, you know, when you're not well and you can't garden. Sometimes just finding those little minimum differences can make a big difference in the long run.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a few more emails. We'll come to those. So Dingo, he was talking about his gunnera, and Anne, I know it's frosty where you are. You've sent us some pictures. We will come to those in a little while, I promise you. Good morning to everybody who's in the chats, and if you do want to send any pictures or comments, then YGTV at YouGarden, that's the email address you need to send them through to, and we'll try and get to show those a little bit later on.
Sleeves.
Both of us, didn't we? Rolled our sleeves straight up.
We mean business.
Well, we do mean business because we're talking about our amazing compost, our premium professional compost. Regulars, I know you know. Anybody new that's watching, this is really important. You need the best compost in your garden. We do believe this is the best compost. I mean, we know, don't we? Because we use it. We have comments all the time from customers. It's 5-star rated. Everybody comes in saying they'll never use anything else. And it's also the compost that we use at the nursery. If there were a better compost, I promise you, we would be using it. Our head gardener would insist on it, but actually this is the one he insists on using. Why is it so good, Adam?
Well, first of all, we need to go straight and say this is a hugely peat-reduced compost as well. That's the world's going. So we were reducing the peat content in our compost before everyone else was doing it. So that's the first thing I'd like to point out. But we've taken lots of peat out, but what we've done instead, we've added composted wood fibre as well. And what that does is that keeps the compost nice and open, nice and airy. So you've got the peat element that's holding on to the moisture, which is fantastic, but also you don't want the compost to be too wet, so the composted wood fibre keeps the texture nice and open, brilliant for drainage. It also allows for the oxygen, for the air to get down to the roots of your plants, which is really, really critical. Even though roots are underground, they still need oxygen. And also it keeps that nice open texture. So if you're a minute little seed, or you're a plug plant, or you're a little cutting, you can very quickly get your roots down into this compost and become established. And it's the compost that holds the hand of your plant all the way through, because Bex is picking out little green sort of beads there, and these are slow release fertiliser. So once the seed has germinated, once the plant has produced roots, it's got that fertiliser that's going to feed the plant for up to 6 months, which is fantastic. It's not a flash in the pan kind of thing and then it's all over. There's a wetting agent in this as well. It makes the compost what's known as hydrophilic. It likes to absorb and suck in the moisture, not repel it like some composts when they dry out. It's pH balanced as well, so it's not too acid, it's not too alkaline. So it sort of accommodates a vast amount of plants. And as Stu, our producer, always says, the value is in the bag, not on the bag. Comes straight from the supplier, so there's no need for sort of fancy packaging either.
Indeed, I'd love you to give it a go. Obviously, regulars, we know that you use this all the time. You've seen the results, but anybody new to it who's watching and thinking, it's just dirt, what you're talking about, I urge you to maybe just do a little bit of research and just see how important it is to have the best compost for your plants, because it really does make a difference. If there's one change you can make to your gardening that turns you from a great gardener to an exceptional gardener, the compost you use is the difference that you can make. 100125 is the item number. I'd like to just point out that price that you can see there, 21.23, that is lower than the price we had in December. I have no idea why, because we did have to put the price of the compost up. We'd kept it static for ages, so we had to put the price of the compost up, but for some reason it's come back down again, and we've added a 15% discount to our club members as well. So who knows? It's the lowest it's ever been, or certainly for a long time, and I don't know how long it's going to stay at that price, so maybe now's the time to stock.
That is almost unheard of these days, isn't it?
It doesn't happen, does it?
Everything
goes up
down
in price, obviously,
Yeah.
it has to.
Yeah.
For some reason it's come straight back down again. I don't know why. Right, let's give you a let's show you some of the things that we've got in the centre. I've been looking for my coffee, and there it is. We're going to start off with the raspberries. These are the long canes, and the headline on this is fruit in the first year.
Which is good because raspberries flower on basically the wood that your raspberries create this year will flower and fruit for you next year.
Get your teeth in, Adam, come on.
I thought that made sense.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm joking. Fruit in the first year! Yay!
Well, but the reason these do fruit in the first year is because when you normally buy raspberries, they're cut down.
Yes.
They come
Which is what you need to do to them, but these have been left long so that you can have the fruit in the first year. It just takes all of the complication out of it. You know you're just going to plant these. Don't cut them down when you get them.
No.
Just plant these, and this year you will have raspberries, and then every year.
Because this growth is last year's growth.
Yes.
So it's going to fruit this year. This is the new growth from 2024 that will be producing fruit in 2025.
And it fruits all the way along the stem as well, doesn't it?
It does all the way up the stem. So, yeah, the most important thing is do not cut these down when you get them home. Leave them the exact height they are, because these buds along here, along the top of these canes, these are flower buds.
Yeah, I can see all these
These
lovely
are this year's
bud
flower
points.
buds. And flower buds get pollinated and they produce fruit.
Amazing.
So there's no waiting about. I remember donkeys years ago when my dad was alive, bless his soul, we had an allotment we used to work on together, and we grew a couple of rows of raspberries.
Nice.
But I remember buying them and they were only kind of diddy like that. And we planted, I think we planted about this time of year, but we had to wait till the following year because we had to wait for them to sprout, we had to wait for them to sort of grow up and produce lovely new green stems, and then it was only the following year that they flowered and we got fruit. With these, we've cut that 1 year wait out. These will fruit for you this year, straight off.
Now, you can plant them in rows if you want to, as Adam was talking about 50 to 60 centimetres apart, if you've got the space to do that. If you haven't got the space to do that, though, you could actually plant these into a heavy-duty pot, couldn't you?
That'd be fine.
Into a wigwam sort of style and shape. All 5 could go in one pot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Into that wigwam, and then they will just grow in the smallest of spaces. So if you've got a balcony, you could grow raspberries, as long as it's a nice sunny balcony, because they do need a bit of sun, don't they?
They do, yeah, nice, and also keep them nice and moist as well.
Water. I mean, you do need to sort of water on a daily basis, don't you, with raspberries? Keep them watered.
Any soft fruit, obviously, probably 80-90% of any soft fruit is water, isn't it? So, they do need lots of moisture, and feed them as well. Tomato feed's good. Liquid tomato feed will be as good as anything, or some of our fertiliser as well. Blooming fast, that will be good. Liquid feed, liquid feed, water. Put them somewhere nice and sunny. Give them some support. You'll be picking raspberries this year, and what you'll also notice is, as the season progresses, new green shoots will come up from the base of these canes, and those will be your fruit for 2026.
Nice. Okay, I can't wait. I'd love to grow raspberries. I might even consider doing it because I've got a few heavy-duty pots that are spare, so I might even consider doing that myself. It's £12.74 for 5 raspberry canes. Fruits this year. That's the exciting news with that one. 330002 is the item number. Use your offer code to get that £5 saving, and make sure you consider joining our discount club, where you get lots and lots and lots of discounts, 15% off everything you buy, plus you'll get £20 of YouGarden vouchers and a couple of postage vouchers as well. We'll give you some more details on that if you're wondering what that is in a little while. Next, we've got our lavender standards, and something we do very well at YouGarden is standards, which is the tree shape on something that you wouldn't necessarily think of as being a tree shape. So, for example, lavender, that grows on the ground. But no, we can actually have it for you in this standard shape, like a tree, like that beautiful lollipop up at the top here. And I love standards. Reason I like them is height.
Yep.
It adds that lovely height and dimension into the garden. It makes the most of the real estate in your garden, because you can add the height, but you can still underplant. But I just think they're really sophisticated.
You get drama from these, don't you? You get drama, you get elegance. They're kind of a different twist. I mean, that's a lavender, that's a Canary Island lavender. That's a slightly different type of lavender, but you've got that sort of standard look to it.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely stunning. And it takes some growing as well to create lavender standards, because these are obviously growing on a lavender stem. I mean, I have seen lavenders, really, really old lavenders in customers' gardens that have almost grown into sort of small shrubs.
Yeah.
But sadly, when they get to that age left to do that as normal kind of lavenders, they get very woody and a bit kind of
They get gaps in them, don't they?
Yeah,
and
they get gaps.
I don't like it when you see that, because lavender should have this sort of fountain effect, I always think. And when they get gappy and leggy, that frustrates me.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. But I mean, look at these. I mean, look how lush and green and
the
dense
fragrance that's coming off those.
Well, that's what I'm doing this, Bex.
Honestly,
Yeah.
you know, yes, you get the fragrance from the flowers, but you still get the fragrance from the foliage. They're evergreen, so they stay, you know, with their foliage on. You know, they get a little bit bitten around the edges when it's really cold, but essentially you get that lovely foliage all year round. And pollinators adore it, don't they?
They do. I mean, again, you know, if you've just you just 3 floors up and just got a balcony or something, these are fantastic because you can take advantage of all that space as well. You know, you sometimes you think about some lavenders. I mean, you were saying you had a lavender hedge.
I do.
And
I still do actually.
And
I was going to dig it up, but I
you
haven't.
like it, but some lavenders, they really sprawl quite a lot, don't they? And they can, you know, they start off in the spring not too tall, and then they get really wide, and you get the rain, and suddenly it's taking up an area of like 1 square metre.
Yeah.
And in some places, you can't afford to lose all that space.
This is why I like the standards, because this is about gardening for everybody. They work great in larger gardens, but they particularly work great in those smaller spaces where you need everything to work really, really hard for you. Now, we do have a double up deal available for you on this, so you could go for one if you want to, and we have taken £15 off the price there. It's $39.99, no postage to pay. But this is the kind of thing that works really beautifully in pairs, either side of a doorway, either side of a seating area, patio door, whatever. That bookending either side of a gate, that looks really, really beautiful. So if you do want to go for 2, where arguably the better value is, it's 2 for $49.99. So they work out at £25 each. Put 2 of them in the basket, enter the code YGTV0525. That's where that big discount comes off for you. So the item number is 510574. And if you're in the club, it's just under £22 each, which is amazing for that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous because again, that garden centre near me that I'm never going to mention the name of, but I can see it in my head now. They would easily charge $29.99 for one of these. They wouldn't hesitate, if not $34.99. They really would. But I mean, you think it's the 2nd of February. Look how fabulous these look as well. Yeah. And sometimes, you know, Bex and I have been doing TikTok videos for you know, different products we bring, and a question I do get this time of year is people say to me, is it okay to plant these things out this time of year? Well, yes, because everything we bring to you has been outside anyway. It hasn't been cosseted or, you know, kept super warm or something. It's been outside in the cold and the wet and the damp and the wind and the rain, so that plants are all nice and hardy. So, yeah, you can, when you get this home, you can put this straight outside where you want it to be. But just imagine, you know, you've got this dome of gorgeous, absolutely wonderful, wonderful fragrant foliage, and then an explosion of purple lavender.
An absolute explosion. You will adore them. 510574 is the item number for that one. I'm going to give you a little reminder of some of the things that we have shown you so far. We've still got loads. It's only 10:20. Oh, God, the time's running on. We've still got another 2 and a bit hours with you, so lots to show you, so stick around. The Peony, the girl next door. Everybody wants the girl next door, and everybody wants this beautiful peony. It's 580077, the item number. A big £10 saving, and you're going to get 4 peony bare roots included in there. £12.74 if you are a club member. Grab that one. Most popular on Thursday and will be the most popular today as well. That's my prediction. Skyscraper lilies are next, a firm favourite. We've been bringing you these for, I mean, many years now as YouGarden on the various platforms that we've done shows on. But this one is just every year very, very popular. Tree lilies. These can get 6 feet in height. You can get 20 to, well, at least 20, I would say, 20 flowers on each of the stems. That's 15 of them, 20 flowers on each once they get established. First year, not quite so big, but still, mine got to about 5 feet last year. 650086 is the item number. 5 varieties and 3 of each of those beautiful colours. £14.41. Oh, in the green. Don't we just love this site? I mean, it just fills your heart with joy, doesn't it, when you see these bluebells out. Lovely little woodland flower, but actually what I really enjoy about these is they cope in that woodland setting, that shadier, you know, dappled shade spot. But actually, bluebells can cope in a full sun position as well. They really don't mind. You're going to get 25 of these bulbs. They are in the green, and that's important. Bluebell bulbs that have dried out, they can be difficult to get them started. Buying in the green with the shoots on them, that helps to ensure success so that every single one of those bulbs will take and spread and multiply and create a beautiful display. £14.99, £5 saving on there, plus a 15% discount by being a discount club member. Use the code YGTV0525 to apply all of those discounts. We've also got the snowdrops, so you might want to go for these as well as your bluebells. I love snowdrops, they're just brave. They look so delicate and tender, but they're the bravest of all the bulbs, popping out of the ground in sort of January, February time, and oh, I just love them. I think they're magical. You're going to get 50 of those bulbs in the green again, so helping you to ensure success, and they will multiply and give a just astounding display. 630009 is the item number if you'd like to go for the snowdrops. Next up, we've got to grow your own. And as we say, we do, we focus on gardening for everyone, and we do have something for everybody, no matter the size of your garden, your gardening abilities, or the size of your budget. We do have something for everybody. And pineberries or strawberries in general, I find them to be very versatile because you can grow them in lots of different places, ground pots, hanging baskets. They're great for all abilities of gardeners, but these are spectacular. These are our white strawberries. They look so unusual, but they taste and act just like a strawberry. They do have a hint of a slightly different flavour called Pineberry. They do have a hint of like a pineapple flavour to them. I've grown them. Honestly, they're super easy. They're very delicious. And the added benefit with the Pineberry is they don't look ripe to the birds. So it does tend to stop the birds from eating all your strawberries. You're going to get 20 runners with a £5 saving. The item number is 320099. Go to YouGarden.com to place your order. But the phone number you can see at the bottom of the screen, that is open as well today, so you can speak to somebody, just give them the offer code in order to get your saving. Hardy geraniums are next. You're going to get 10 bare roots included in here. It is a special offer. It's an amazing price. It breaks down to less than £1.45 each if you are in the club, and these flower for ages. June, July, August, September, October. They establish really quickly as well, so you will get flowers in the first season. You'll get a decent flowering display in the first season, and they will get even better in the following years. Love the colour mix included in there as well. I think it's quite a classy, elegant colour mix. 580009 is the item number. Something else for the grow your own, which you could have in allotment, a large garden, or if you've got a smaller space, you could grow these in a pot. Just put the canes into a wigwam shape in the pot, and you will have raspberries this year, because these are the long canes. So they weren't cut back last year. Raspberries, fruit and flower on last year's stems. Because these weren't cut back, that means you're going to get raspberries this year. Super easy. Just put them somewhere really nice and sunny and make sure you keep them well watered. They do like a drink. 330002 is the item number. Next up is our lavenders. Now we've got these as the standard varieties. You can see them in Sean's pub garden here. They look really elegant, really beautiful. They're drought tolerant. They are evergreen. You get the amazing flowers, the fragrance, the pollinators adore them. They're just easy, and if you go for the double up deal, you're getting a fantastic price, because one of them is $39.99, which is great, but if you go for two, it's $49.99, so it breaks down to £25 each, and if you're in the club, it's about £22 each. So honestly, great value on these ones for something that is elegant, beautiful, sophisticated, easy and pollinator friendly. 510574 is the item number. Look at his smiley face. Look at him grinning away in his pub garden. He's having a nice time, isn't he? Right, you might want some compost, which I think was what Sean was talking about right there, which is the premium professional compost. 100125 is the item number. It's a lower price than it was in December. Don't know why. Let's not question it. Let's just stock up on our compost while we've got that amazing price. Make sure you use the code YGTV0525 to get your savings. And do remember that you get free postage with absolutely every single order that you place for items from the YGTV show. You don't have to get your order to over £40 anymore. You can just come in and buy one item if you want to, and you will have that free postage. Now, the best way to save money is, first of all, watch YGTV, because we have amazing deals, discounts and prices. But watching us and being a club member is definitely the most affordable way to shop for your gardening items. Forget the discount codes, forget the website, forget the magazine, just catalogue, that's the word I was looking for. Just watch YGTV and join our club. Here is a little video showing you why you should be a club member.
If you love your garden as much as we love ours, then why not join the YouGarden Discount Club?
The club has been running for many years, and it's where thousands of our customers enjoy a whole host of benefits to ensure that they get the most out of their gardens for less.
Now is a great time to join the YouGarden Discount Club, as the benefits have just got even better. So what do you get when you join the club?
Firstly, our members will get bigger discount rates all year round. So you'll now receive 15% off our range of plants and accessories, and that's on top of any other discounts you might have.
For those bigger investments, such as garden furniture or lawnmowers, for example, you now get 7.5% discount on all of our outdoor living and machinery range.
In addition to the ongoing discounts, you'll also get more voucher value when you join or renew your club membership. We will send you 4 £5 product vouchers, which you can redeem throughout the year against the cost of your orders.
And as a new added benefit, you will now receive 2 free P&P vouchers, which can be redeemed against the cost of your shipping.
Club members get priority access to exclusive offers and brand new products at our best prices.
We'll keep you up to date with fantastic advice and top tips from our grown experts and professional gardeners to make sure that you get the most from your new purchases and existing plants. The best way to join the club is with our auto-renewal subscription. You'll pay £10 per year, then at the end of the year we will automatically renew your membership to ensure you retain all of your benefits. Plus, the price you pay when you join will never go up for as long as you remain a member, and that's a guarantee.
And remember, when you join the club, you will start saving from the very first order you make, as the discounts will be applied immediately. So with all that the YouGarden Discount Club has to offer, why not join us and start saving today?
We'd love to help you make the most of your garden for less with the YouGarden Discount Club.
So yeah, those are all the reasons to be a club member. I mean, there's over, 45,000 members, so I'd love you to be a member as well and enjoy all the discounts that we have here. I'll grab the iPad and we'll have a little look through the chat in a second, but we're going to start off with our roses. I have a favourite. But it's not about me, it's about you. Which one do you want to go for? First of all, we're going to start off with the Rose Rhapsody in Blue, and with this you will get a free gift, which I haven't put out, so I'll find it while Adam talks to you about the Rhapsody in Blue.
Well, Rhapsody in Blue is one of my most favourite roses, and I've got it.
Is this one of your favourites?
It is.
Hey!
I've got Rhapsody in Blue in my own garden. I saw Rhapsody in Blue for the first time many, many years ago in a customer's garden. A lady called Mrs. Pitt, bless her soul, she's gone now. She's moved on to the rose garden in the sky, and she's absolutely used to adore her roses. Yeah, and I remember. I'd not really seen this rose before, and I got there one day and it started flowering, and I thought, oh my goodness me, that is the most intense, unusual, incredible colour of a rose I've ever seen. And like a lot of roses that have got blue in the name, they're not blue. Blue Moon's not blue. Rhapsody in Blue's not blue. But they are the most extraordinary shade of purple. And this can get quite tall. In my garden, it got to about 1 metre, perhaps even a bit taller than 1 metre. But it has, most of the time, 4 or 5 really strong stems. And I kid you not, that sometimes you get 20, 30, 40 blooms. Yeah. On each stem.
They're amazing.
It's an amazing rose.
There's one that grows around the corner from here. We pass it on the way in, just round, and it is. It makes me look every time because the colour of it is so beautiful, so unusual, but you get loads of flowers on there.
There's no other rose that has colour anywhere near the colour of this one.
Any other name?
Yeah.
Sorry, quoting Shakespeare.
This is really unique, the colour of this rose, and it's a floribunda rose, so you have these stems with dozens of flowers on each stem. I mean, I think I might have a picture in my phone, and I always mean to show the pictures and I always forget. But yeah, this is a knockout rose, beautiful beautiful centres with those fabulous bright yellow stamens, and it is a little bit fragrant. I'm not going to say to you it's, you know, wow, it's knockout. It is not, but it does have a gentle fragrance. So yeah, if you want a rose that's dramatic, that's got incredible colour, slight fragrance, loads and loads of flowers over a long period, but a bare root rose, and again, that looks a bit terrifying. It's like, well, what are you showing me there? This is like a dead thing you pulled up out of the ground. That's not going to do anything. Well, it will, because this is dormant. It doesn't know it's been moved. All you've got to do is transplant it back into the ground, soak it in a bucket of water for 24 hours before you do that, plant it back in the ground, but just make sure when you plant it that the union bit, what I call all of that, the knuckly bit as I like to call it, is about ½ inch below soil level. So this bit here is about ½ inch below, ½ inch to 1 inch. That's what most people recommend. Sort of just gently tread the soil in around the base of the rose. If it drops down a little bit, put a little bit more soil back round it, water it in, and just leave it. And I would not be surprised at all if this flowers for you this year. I think you will get some flowers this year, but once it's established, oh wow, this is a knockout rose.
Now you can grow roses in pots. I mean, some obviously get bigger than others, and you can absolutely grow them in pot, and you can maintain the size of them. But this one, I think, because it does get nice and big, this one would be better in the ground, wouldn't it?
Yeah, better in the ground. I mean, I had to move mine because actually I made a mistake of putting mine at the front of my border, and then it got too tall. So I've transplanted it and I put it back to the back of the border. And yeah, I love it. And my husband John, he's got one in the front garden as well, and it's just a stunningly beautiful rose.
Right, so you will get a free gift included with any one of the 3 roses that you buy, which is the Rose Bloom Booster. It's high in NPK, it's got all the trace elements, it's just got a specific formulation that's really good for roses, but you can use it on everything else as well. There's enough in there for 4 applications. You can top dress existing roses, or you can add that into the planting hole when you plant your bare root, and that is free with every single one of these 3 bare root roses that you buy today. Next, we're moving on to my favourite. So we've done Adam's that he's got in his garden, and now we're going to give you the Rose Double Delight, and this one is a hybrid tea. So this has, I'm taking over, sorry. This one has, it's my rose, I'm talking about this one. This one's a hybrid tea, so this one you get the nice long straight stems. Hybrid teas tend to have slightly larger flowers, and they do tend to be a little bit more fragrant, and I can guarantee you that this one has an amazing fragrance. Stu, can I take over and can I show you my little video, please? This is me. Well, it's not me. It's my Double Delight in my garden. Now, I had this rose a couple of years ago, and I planted it in a shady border, silly girl. And I kept thinking, I'll move that. And I finally moved it, and it flowered this last year. And oh my God, I'm so glad I did, because look at it, it's stunning, it's beautiful, it's bicoloured. You've got peach tones, apricots, you've got amazing fragrance.
The foliage looked amazing. That's a really healthy.
Yeah. Honestly, it's an amazing rose. I highly, highly recommend it.
Well, apparently in 1977, it was voted the world's favourite rose, which is incredible because, you know, it looks like quite a modern introduction, this rose, but, you know, to think it's been around since 1977. I mean, I wasn't born until 1992, so, you know, I wasn't aware of it, to be honest.
He's so funny, isn't he? Go for the Rose Double Delight. I adore it. You will love it. The fragrance, the colour. Roses are super easy anyway. Let's move on to another one now, because maybe it's a climbing rose that you're looking for. And by the way, this is a very small selection of the roses that we do here at YouGarden. We work very closely with rose breeders. Harkness Roses, amazing, award-winning, the best when it comes to rose breeding. So this is a teeny tiny selection. If you do want other roses, go and have a look on the website. Unfortunately, you will pay postage on other roses on the website, because it's only free postage on the items from the show, but there are hundreds, I'm going to say, of varieties that you can shop for. This one's the Iceberg Rose. Great name, because you are getting a pure white rose here, it's a climber.
Yeah, it is a climber. Funny enough, I was working in a garden near where I live, a place called Oxborough, in the week, and they've got a rose arch there, and either side of the rose arch is Iceberg Rose.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
And it's about our height, sort of, Becks, sort of either side.
Nice.
And yeah, it's done really, really well. They wanted to do even better, so we've put lots of manure and chicken manure pellets around the base of it. And it's fragrant as well, this one. It has a soft, not a sort of knock you in the face fragrance, but it has a soft, sweet, gentle fragrance, but these incredibly pure white flowers. And it's one of the most popular white roses. Pascali and Iceberg are probably two of the most popular white roses that I can think of. But Iceberg, long established rose. I remember my first job when I left school was at a rose growing nursery. That was back in 1981, I think, 82. And Iceberg was around then, and it was always really popular.
Yeah.
It was one of the first roses we sold out of at the sort of end of the rose season. So if you want a beautiful, beautiful, stunning rose, white rose with some fragrance, lovely healthy foliage to go up a pergola or a frame or on some trellis or up an ugly wall or somewhere like that, or up and over a tree, old tree stump, go for this because it's absolutely beautiful.
Remember, you are getting a free gift with any of the rose purchases that you make from here. So any of these three will come with a bag of your rose bloom booster, enough for 4 applications, and it's great for planting into the hole or top dressing existing roses as well. It's a once a year application. You can still feed your plants throughout the year as well, but that's a once a year. So 530, oh, that was the rose Rhapsody in Blue. Did we give the item, the details for the Iceberg, Stu? It's switched to blue. Thank you. 530073 is the item number if you want to go for the climbing roseberg. You know what I mean. £14.99 or £12.74 if you are in the club.
The only
Next.
thing with this rose is
that
most of it's under the ground most of the year.
I knew you were going to say. I knew there was a joke. I could tell by the look on your face. It's just the tip of the iceberg,
only the
isn't
tip of it
Yeah.
shows. Not really.
Let's go on to our summer flowering bulb collection, shall we? Now, this is amazing value for money. Oh, Stu. He's still doing jokes in my ear. So now we've got a summer bulb collection. 300 bulbs included in here, and you're getting 7 different varieties. It is already popular. You're already going for this one. If you go for this from us using our item code and using our offer code, your price is first of all going to come down by £15 to £14.99. If you're a club member, it'll £12.74, but you will not pay any postage. And that's the really important thing. If you're on the website and you're looking and you're going, but it's the same price, it isn't when you get it through to the basket, because the basket will add £6.99 postage. So that's why we want you to shop with us on YGTV. Use our code and shop with us on YGTV. Even if you're just buying this today, this is what you need to do. Enter the code YGTV0525 because that's going to get you that free postage. I mean, yeah, Stu's just saying this and the peonies, that'd be a great basket, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah.
Right, you are getting 7 varieties, so we're talking months and months of colour. They're all hardy, or mostly. Yeah, they are, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
Hardy, so these are going to come back for you year after year. Some of them will multiply and spread, but we're talking months of colour, gorgeous flowers, bit of fragrance too.
That's the thing. That's what I like about the bulb mixes we bring you, whether it's summer flowering or spring flowering bulbs. We always give a great mix, don't we? We have, we've got Accidentha there, for example. We've got the little allium molly, which is probably one of the earlier ones to flower. Then we've got the Broadier, which are these lovely mixes of purples and whites. Freesias. We've got looks like we've got double and single freesias in that mix as well. Gladiolis. They're going to be probably some of the latest ones to flower in the season. We've got Liatris there, or gay feather as it's commonly known, and it's quite an unusual plant that once it flowers from the top down. Oxalis is another one there. Are we? That's the Accidentha, or Abyssinian lily, I think is its common name. They are related to Gladiolis.
Yes.
No, I was saying this mix. It's a specifically named mix,
yes.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Which so you what you see is what you get. That's with this mix.
It's a new mix for 2025. We have changed it around, so if you bought it previously, there is actually new flowers in here. I really like this one, the Liatris spicata. I think it's really unusual and beautiful. And can get quite tall, can't it?
Yeah,
like up to about a metre, can't it?
Yeah, they can get about sort of knee-waist height. And I think the Oxalis, that's new, isn't it? Because I don't remember seeing that in the mix before. But a fabulous mix of bulbs there. Different heights, different colours, different flowering times. And these will have the little blue snowflake symbol as well, because any sort of hardy plants that we sell,
good point.
We give the little blue snowflake symbol. sustainable and that's sort of a lifetime guarantee for those sort of plants?
We do. It has a lifetime guarantee, so if it fails to thrive, you can get in touch, we'll replace it free of charge. As long as we still stock it, you just have to pay postage to get that out to you. And there's so many in there. I love it. There's the spring flowering bulb collection was a really popular one, so this one is going to be as well. 630130 is the item number. Make sure you use the offer code. Next, I'm so glad we've got the gladioli. So this one's new this season. Really excited to bring you this one. It's called Purple Art, and we describe it in the web copy, the details, as this sort of tie-dye look to it. And when you look at the petals, the flowers that you're getting on here, it's got this mixture of pinks and mauves and purples, and you can see where that tie-dye expression has come from.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. It's absolutely gorgeous. And the thing about it, Bex, as well, you can't even see any gaps between the flowers.
No, you can't.
These are solid flower spikes on here as well, and really glamorous. And the nice thing about gladiolis is they're bulbs that flower towards the back end of the summer. So when lots of bulbs have already been and gone, gladiolis will flower from August right through into September for you. Lovely upright flower spikes there, lovely sword-shaped leaves, easy to grow, plant them somewhere, full sun, well drained. You can grow them in containers if you want as well. You can grow them in beds and borders. They will come back year after year. And again, it's something, I mean, going back in the past, they always used to say to lift gladiolis. So, you know, in the olden days, people used to. These days, you know, quite often if you leave them in, I mean, I've got a few gladioli in my garden that I've never lifted, and they come back year after year after year. Yeah, I mean, you could put mulch over them. That's quite a good idea.
I think so, because, I mean, they do say that gladiolis are sort of half-hardy. They'll cope with some sort of minus temperatures down to -5. But if you put a good layer of mulch on, then you don't need to worry,
for example, a nice big layer of strolch on the top, or some of our bark mulch over the top. The only time I'd say to lift them is if you can have, if you've got really, really wet sort of waterlogged soil, clay soil. But honestly, these days you don't need to worry. But you know, these gladiolis are beautiful. They're spectacular. They're easy to grow. They're undemanding, really, really colourful, make fabulous cut flowers, and also loved by the pollinators.
630388 is the item number. You get a pack of 10 of those. I would think about multi-ordering on those. And actually, here's a tip. If you want to extend your gladioli flowering season, if you buy 20, for example, plant 5 one week, plant 5 the next week, plant 5 the next week, and plant 5 the next week, because it's not going to matter. They'll still flower, and you'll get, you know, longer out of them, basically, because they'll all flower at different times. Yeah.
I like your style.
Why not?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Love it.
Makes sense. It's funny, it's weird you say, because I driving in this morning, I saw a field of daffodils.
Oh, did you?
Rows and rows of daffodils, almost about to flower, because obviously they're grown for commercial reasons, for cut flowers. But they sort of, when you drive around this part of the world, you see them at all different stages. And again, because they plant them at different times.
Yeah.
So they flower, and there was loads of fields of gladioli on my way back last year, and they flowered at all different times, obviously because they want to keep selling them over a long period. So it's easy to do.
It's easy to do in your garden as well. Right, we've got some pot deals for you. We have brought back this one, I've forgotten the name of, Helix, thank you, Stu. So we brought back the Helix, which is a mix and match offer where you can double up. So you can get 2 of them, but you can mix and match depending on which colour you want. So we're starting with the black and bronze, which Adam has got here. And we've got black and silver as well. You can sort of see the difference if they're held next to each other. Or we can go for the powdered clay, which is the other colour option that we've got for you. And they are the perfect size, I find, for a variety of different things.
Yeah, because if you've got really big pots, you tend to put a big plant in them and you just leave them where they are, don't you? You don't sort of mess about with them.
Of course.
But sometimes you want to change the display a bit. You want to shake it up. You want a seasonal display, don't you? So these are that really nice size that you can change in the autumn and in the spring, but you don't have to spend a fortune. So the bulb mix, the summer flowering bulb mix, you could put some of those in these pots, for example.
Definitely. I reckon you could put you could probably put a hardy geranium in one of those.
Probably the pineberries. You could grow some pineberries in these.
Yeah, you could definitely put one in there.
I'd say one per pot if you wanted to do that.
Bluebells, snowdrops.
Yeah, bluebells, snowdrops.
There's loads of different things, and I think once we get into the summer bedding as well, you can think about putting begonias in here and tumbling and trailing around. There's so many options, but it's just the fact that you can change it over quite regularly, you know, seasonally if you want to get various different displays without having to spend a fortune. They have got the drainage holes in there, 8 of them, slightly raised channels. They're made of plastic, but we're talking about good plastic.
Yeah, we are, because these are UV stable, these are frost resistant, and what I just adore about plastic pots these days is the way they're just so thought through. You know, the fact that these have actually got that raised design on there. You've got that sort of nice burnished, antique-y kind of look to these as well. And I know I always give this example, but you know, if you were rushing down the high street one morning to go and catch a train or jump on the bus or something, and you saw these in somebody's front garden, you would not think these were plastic, would you?
You definitely wouldn't think that these were plastic. You would think
these are the real deal. You would think these are sort of metallic pots, but they're not. And that's good for other reasons as well, because the fact they're plastic pots, unlike the sort of terracotta pots, the real terracotta, this is what you call...
Terranotta.
Yeah. These don't leach out the moisture, so they don't need watering so much. They're not going to crack or split in the frost. They're not going to lose the rim around the top. These are going to look as good 5-10 years down the line as they look today.
Right, we've got some Durham window planters while I go and get the kikis from outside.
Well, it reminds me of Hector's house, because it was Kiki and Zaza, wasn't there? I was way before you.
I was going to say...
Yeah, no, you weren't even born then.
We're going back to the 50s, are we?
You were just a zygote then. It was like long before, yeah.
You tell them about Durham's.
OK, well, this, again, is a pot that I really nice. And it's good, twin pack. A good thing about these as well, it's nice to have a sort of a nice oblong sort of pot, a long trough kind of pot, because again it gives you those different planting options. In fact, what we're going to do, Bex, I'm going to pop that there because we did this last week. Let's go for...
What are you putting in it? Oh yeah, I love this.
Let's go for one of these.
I really like this. Not something I thought of until Adam suggested it, but actually a standard in the middle of a rectangular trough.
What else have we got?
I really like the way that looks, and then you can plant stuff either side of this, no matter what that might be. Some, I don't know, some trailing ivy, or you know, some summer bedding that's going to tumble over, and then you can change it over to winter. I like it.
Yeah, and the good thing about when you've got these plants that are more kind of trough shaped, they're great for putting on windowsills. They're, sort of great for putting down the side of something. So you might, for example, have a front door that's got a couple of steps that go down. So you could put these kind of parallel either side of the steps and kind of frame your doorway if you wanted to. These are big enough to grow vegetables on. You could grow things like beetroot. You could grow things like spring onions, radishes, cut and come again lettuce, for example. So you've got enough depth and width in there to do all those things. But when you put a nice standard in the middle and then you plant sort of half the height again either side, gives you that nice sort of triangular.
It's a good idea. It's a really nice design idea, absolutely. So frost resistant, UV stable, drainage holes included in there. You know, it's going to last you a long time. It's nice and lightweight and not going to leach all that moisture out of the soil for you. So it's going to help keeping your plants, you know, hydrated and watered. Go.
Do you know a quick thing you could do with this as well? Just occurred to me. You might want to grow your own little mini transportable hedge, because what you could do as well, you could plant a line of hollies in this.
Yeah,
you've got these little hollies
that's coming up.
And you could just grow those up and keep them trimmed. And then you've got like a little...
I like that, because you've got 2 of them. That create
a little hedge in a trough. So if you just kind of wanted that, you know, either side of something, that could be really nice as well. 130583 is the item number if you want to go for those. You will get a twin pack, so you will get both of those, and they will work out at under £10 each if you are a club member. And finally, in our pot deals, we've got the Kiki, where we have a triple deal. Now, this is the one where you have to put 3 in your basket. If there is a triple pack already on the website, don't do that. It's basically this item code 130596. They're individuals. Put 3 in your basket and then enter the code, and that's where you're going to get the triple deal for £12.99. They're £8.99 each, or put 3 in your basket and you'll get 3 for £12.99 as long as you use that offer code YGTV0524. £7.64, by the way, if you are in the club. So look, there's 3 for £12.99 because the offer code has already been put into this basket. If you take it down to 2, look, the price goes up.
You get more, you pay less. That's the way to do it. So put the code in, put 3 in your basket, and then it will come up like this. If you're on the phones, tell them you want the 3, but make sure you've given them the code so that you get the amazing deal on that. So a really handy little pot there, you know, beautiful design, still got the drainage holes in the bottom, and still frost resistant and UV stabilised. So don't worry about these.
They look a bit Mediterranean as well, don't they?
Yeah, they've definitely got that kind of Mediterranean vibe.
I can imagine just 3 of those with just one gorgeous red geranium in each one on a windowsill or something.
Well, we brought these to you for a little while, so if you've already had them, we'd love to see where you've got them and what you've got planted in them. Do send us any pictures on ygtv@yougarden.com. We're going to move on to our next plants now, and the first one we're going to talk to you about is our ilex. Now, this is the English holly, the Ilex aquifolium, and this is what I always think of as traditional holly.
Yeah, it's traditional holly. This is a, sort of a native holly, so yeah, this is what you see growing out and about in the countryside.
Nice rooty.
Look at the root system on that. That is a super well-established little plant there, looking really, really happy. And holly sometimes isn't grown enough, in my opinion, because it's evergreen. It looks good all the year through. You can actually grow it as a hedge, and because it's a little bit prickly as well, it's good for a security hedge if you want to do it for that.
It's great for birds nesting as well, though. They quite like, despite it being prickly, they're quite happy to nest in holly, aren't they?
Absolutely, no problem at all. And it is bone hardy.
Yeah, you do not need to worry about this at all.
Crazy hardy.
Even windy areas this can cope with.
Windy areas, super dry areas. Yeah, I mean, it survives pretty much everywhere, and it flowers. You have gorgeous little, very small white flowers that if you get close enough do have a little bit of a fragrance, but again, I'm not going to say you're going to, you know...
You kind of have to stick your nose right in it, don't you?
And then you get poked in the eye, so don't do that. But of course, you have the red holly berries, which is fantastic, because this variety is self-fertile as well, which is really, really good.
So it's a female variety, isn't it? And it's self-fertile, so you will get berries. So you don't need to worry about it. But if you were to plant it with a male variety, you'd ensure even more berries.
Yeah, you possibly get even more berries. But I tell you what, either way, you don't need to worry.
You don't need to worry.
There is so many holly trees in the UK.
Yeah, and you don't need them to be, for this pollinating thing, you don't need them actually to be in the same garden, do you?
No.
They can be 6 streets away, and you're still going to get the benefit.
Yeah. And, you know, and with pollen as well, I mean, sometimes pollen blows about in the air, so sometimes, you know, plants can be pollinated through the pollen blowing about in the air, but obviously, you know, the pollinating insects are buzzing backwards and forwards as well. So, you know, if you want to grow something that is super, super bone hardy, evergreen, looks gorgeous all the year through, has white flowers, has those fabulous, fabulous red berries, you could grow these as individual little trees if you wanted to, that could grow up and get bigger and bigger as time goes by, or you could grow these in a hedge. Holly makes a lovely little hedge, and you can just keep it as quite a loose, sort of open sort of hedge. Well,
that's certainly the idea behind this, because you are going to get 10 9-centimetre pots here. So Adam's just holding one. Those are the other 9 that you're looking at right there. So the idea definitely is to be able to grow a hedge with this if you want to. So 520016 is the item number. £33.92 if you are in the club. So that's less than £4 per pot, which is pretty good price for those. YGTV 0525 is the code you need to use in order to get that £20 discount. Next up, we've got a climbing one for you. The pink jasmine. We didn't manage to bring this one out on Thursday, so this is the first time we're seeing it in the potting shed this week. And I'm a big fan of jasmine anyway. I adore the scent from jasmine. The perfumes that you get with jasmine scent in them tend to be quite high end, quite expensive. But this one is the pink star jasmine. So I've got the white one. I'm thinking about adding the pink one into the collection, because just look at those beautiful flowers.
It is beautiful. I've seen this in other people's garden. I haven't got it myself. I have seen it flowering in other people's gardens. And it really, really is knockout. I mean, it is so, so unusual, that lovely, lovely soft pink. But in every other way, it's the same as the white flowering one. So as Beck said, you have the most distinct, sweet, gorgeous fragrance.
I love that little yellow centre.
Yeah, isn't that lovely?
That's so cute.
And just the simplicity of those little star-shaped flowers is absolutely fabulous.
It's amazing the scent that comes off them.
Especially at night.
Especially at night time. In the evening when you're outside in summertime. For those, you get a lot of them, but they're quite small, aren't they?
They are.
The scent that comes off them is incredible.
It just travels on the breeze. It sort of travels on the warm air, and on a warm summer's night, when you're sitting outside, really, really gorgeous fragrance from these. These are evergreen as well, so they look good all year round. I say evergreen. Sometimes in the year they're ever red as well, because in the autumn,
they go They get a lovely colour. It's like a bronzy tinge you get to them.
Bronze to almost a reddish colour.
But it doesn't drop it.
No.
I mean, it doesn't. It's not deciduous.
No.
It drops a couple of leaves, but it's not deciduous.
No. I mean, in our old house where we used to live in Bishopstorp, we had a white one of these. Used to grow over the front, the living room window, and over the front door.
Oh wow!
Still there now, and that was gorgeous. And
I bet the window open in the summertime, and that scent coming.
Just the scent would come into the living room.
Delightful.
And it had flower in it for a good couple of months. And then every so often it would just send out a little random few more flowerings as well during the growing season. But yeah, go for this. It's stunning.
Good saving on this one as well. £13 we've taken off that by using the offer code YGTV0525. And if you are a Discount Club member, costs you just £10 to join, you'll get a 15% discount on everything that you buy. So that price comes down to £14.44. 550223 is the item number. Quick reminder of what we've just seen. So we're starting off with the roses. Oh, and my favourite. Thank you, Stu. We love the Double Delight. Look at the colours. It's just, honestly, it's mesmerising. I'm so happy I moved that rose bush in my garden. It hadn't flowered for 2 years, and I finally moved it. And now I'm getting those delightful flowers. Amazing scent from this. It's a hybrid tea, so you get lovely long straight stems. I think I'm putting it in my favourite rose category. 530001 is the item number. And you're going to get a free gift included with any of the roses as well, worth £4.99. It's the Ultimate Rose Bloom Booster. Gives them the best possible start. You can use it as a top dressing for other roses, enough for 4 applications. It is free with any of these roses today. Next up is the Rhapsody in Blue, Adam's favourite. He's got it in his garden. Again, with that free gift. I know it's not blue, it's purple, but that's just the way we name things. But it is the most stunning colour, definitely a head turner, absolutely beautiful. Lovely, bright, sort of yellowy orange stamens in the centre as well, which is a perfect combination with the purple flowers. Adds excellent contrast. 530065 is the item number if you want to go for the Rose Rhapsody in Blue. That one is a Floribunda rose, by the way. And then we've got a climbing rose for you, which is the Iceberg. Pure white blooms here. And if you've got I don't know, a wall, a fence, a shed, something that you just want to you just cover it up and cover it with something beautiful, pure, innocent, then yeah, go for the Rose Climbing Iceberg. All of these come as bare roots, by the way, so really easy to plant. Just soak the bare roots, get them planted, and off you go. Make sure with a climbing rose you train it to sort of snake up what you're climbing, not going straight up. Make it snake up it, because that will help to give you more shoots, which equals more flowers. 530073 is the item number if you'd like to go for the Rose Climbing Iceberg. Next up we have the bulb mix. Yes, you cannot leave today without going for the bulb mix. Please put this one in your basket because you're getting incredible value for money here. 300 bulbs, 7 different varieties, flowering for months on end. Winter hardy, perennials, they will come back for you year after year. I mean, you've got Freesias in there that are amazingly scented. We've got Brody ear, you've got gladioli, you've got mollies included, so many different flowers, and it works out at about, as a club member I think it is, 4p a bulb. Amazing. 630130 is the item number. Oh yeah, you want to add this one in as well. Get the gladioli purple art to add into your collection there. These are new this season. They are lovely purpley mauve, beautiful flowers, and I think they are head turners. 630388 is the item number if you would like to go for the gladioli purple art, 10 of those bulbs. Right, just a quick 1 minute on the compost for you, because you do need to be getting hold of this. We're reaching that peak season now. We sell this all throughout the year. People buy this all the way through the year, but there tends to be 2 peak times in the year, doesn't there? Just before spring and just before autumn.
There was a little bit of a moment yesterday, actually, in the Woolcott Smith household.
Right.
Because I stocked up on quite a few bags of these.
Yeah.
That I wanted. that I wanted for my back garden, and 2 went missing. Yes.
Get your own compost.
Yeah. Anyway, I forgive you, John, for using my compost. So I've run out now, so I'm definitely going to get some more. And I was using mine yesterday. I've got this north-facing border that has got the most amazing plant. There's not much there now, but the most amazing plants in it. And every year, I kind of just mulch it with this compost all over. I did compost and chicken manure.
Nice.
And because there's so much in this border, it's really, really hungry. So I put loads and loads of compost on, loads of chicken manure, and that's just one use for this. I mean, obviously it's a growing medium, so houseplants, seeds, cuttings, fruit, vegetables, pretty much, you know, if it's green and it grows, it's going to love this compost.
And it's been specifically designed like that to work for the majority of the plants in your garden. It's pH balanced, so it's just in the right place for the majority. I always say about 98% probably of everything you're going to plant. It's only really the extreme, so anything like, for example, ericaceous, acid-loving plants, rhododendrons, azaleas, blueberries, they want ericaceous. We've got it on the website. Everything else is going to live such a happy life in this compost.
Yeah, because we've got that composted wood fibre in here, keeping the compost nice and open, lets the air penetrate, lets the water percolate through, lets the roots get down into it. We've got that slow-release fertiliser, feeding your plants for up to 6 months, reduced peat content in this as well, pH balance, so it's not too acid, not too alkaline. The wetting. Did I mention the wetting agent?
No idea.
Yeah, she doesn't listen to me anymore. Just it's in one ear, the other. Yeah, it's got a wetting agent in it as well, which means if it does dry out, then it absorbs the moisture really, really quickly. You know, sometimes those other composts, when you dry it and you water them, the water just cascades straight off.
It's annoying, isn't it?
It's annoying. This tends to soak up much more easily. There's 100 litres straight to your door of this compost, and you can see that by the bags. Because it's straight to your door from the supplier, we don't need fancy bags with all sorts of stuff printed on. And like Stu says, our producer, the value's in the bag, not on the bag. Also, you put your hand down there, Bex. There's a nice,
you can feel the heat.
Nice blast of warm air just down there. It's really nice.
I've got my heated jacket on. I'm all right.
No, I've got my heated jacket on. I'm all right.
Right, so 100125 is the item number if you'd like to go for the compost. The price is lower than it was in December. Who knows why, but it is. So grab hold of it. Stock up on that while you can. David, thank you very much for your message on Facebook. He's just ordered that pink jasmine to go with the white one that he got last year. I think it's a great idea. I'm considering doing it. I've got the white one. I'm thinking about getting the pink one to go with it as well.
And especially if they meet and
if
kind
you
of
meet
grow
and they
into each
mingle.
other. I'd say what would be really nice, because if you start them off opposite ends, one end would just be pink, one end would just be white, and then you get that middle bit where it's
just
white and
melding
pink.
Together. Right, thank you very much for everybody in the chat. Obviously, David's mentioned on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. I love the chat that's going on YouTube at the moment. This is hilarious. Okay, so first of all, Elaine's saying, Stu, a big order is going in on Thursday. Owen's talking about how she used to grow potatoes but doesn't bother anymore. Bag of potatoes tend to go off before she gets to use them, but Elaine is chitting hers right now. So she's going to be getting some compost to go with it. This is where it gets exciting, though. Alwyn's saying, I'll be dipping in and out as I'm preparing lunch for my family. He'll be arriving at about 1. So Stu's asked, what's for lunch? Oh, roast beef, Yorkshire puds and all the veg. Oh. Nice. Stu says, plate me some up. Do you want beer or wine, Stu? Oh, I'll have a glass of red wine, please. Rioja or Montepulciano, please. Cup of tea for me, says Elaine. Coming up, says Alwyn. I quite like all of this. I like how you're all chatting to each other. It's making me smile. Thank you very much. So Alwyn says she sent... I know, me too. Roast beef. Alwyn sent some photos of a holly from Christmas, one each side of the front door. They do have lights on as well, so we'll have a little look at those in a little while. Ruth says, hang on. Stu, it seems we pay postage now for orders over even £40. We think that that's because you're ordering stuff that's not in the show. So the free postage is on what we have selected for you from the YGTV show. If you go and shop the website, which you are welcome to do, by the way, you can go and shop. There's thousands of products available. You will pay postage on the items that are on the website. We're going to ask if we can have, or Stu's asked the question, if we can get free postage over 40 for everything else that you shop. So stay with us. We might be able to adjust that in the future. But yeah, it's free postage for everything in here today. Alwyn's asking, when should I start feeding my plants? I normally start in around sort of end of March, early April.
Yeah, that's the best time. Yeah, don't do it before then, because they're not really going to...
They're asleep.
They're asleep. They're not going to take it up. The only caveat to that, I would say, is granular feed. I like to get granular feed down now, even things like chicken manure and stuff, so it breaks down and gets into the soil just when the plants are ready to start using it.
Okay, so yes, thank you everybody for all of the comments on there. Let me quickly nip into the emails and see what we've got going on in here. Right, Alison has sent a few pictures of things looking... Oh no, I want to show Dingo's picture first. Sorry, can I skip back? Dingo sent in a picture saying he was doing water gardening yesterday and he was uncovering the gunnera. Stu just said, I met a terrapin yesterday and thought of you, Dingo. So he says, look at the size of the crown, and that's just one of them making its way into the next basket. Now Dingo's obviously got the turtle sanctuary, so he was out doing the gardening in the turtle pool.
I don't like some terrapins though because they're two-faced, aren't they?
What are you talking about? He's joking, by the way.
They do have their two heads sometimes.
Look at the size of that.
That is going to explode into those gigantic rhubarb-shaped leaves. In probably
I do love a gunnera, they're beautiful, aren't they?
And year on year they get more dramatic. I went to a place, I can't remember it was, John and I went to a place years ago, and there was this, it was sort of like a forest, and then there was this massive dip in the ground that was really, really boggy, and there were just hundreds of these gunneras, and there was a path that went through, and as you walked through, the gunnera leaves were over
canopy.
Yeah, over the top of you.
Amazing.
And the stems, honestly, the stems were like that thick on the leaves. Unbelievable.
Anne sent an email as well. She says, hi, lovely people. Just been outside to look around. Brr, it's freezing. Didn't stay long. Back on the sofa now with a cuppa. Regarding the girl next door, I've already put all 4 in heavy-duty pot. Fingers crossed they will be happy for a while. Like you, I'm hoping to move, so hedging my bets, definitely. I love this picture, though. Look, this lovely little frost-bitten primrose or whatever that one is.
They're so tough, aren't they?
How cute.
Yeah, I always admire plants that flower this time of year. I've got a daphne in flower at the moment. I've got a lovely witch hazel flowering. I've got a camellia yuletide. And this morning I just stepped in the garden before jumping into my truck and they were all covered in frost.
It makes some great pictures, doesn't it? Yeah, I love them.
Like when you get home this evening, it's still light. They'll all be fine.
Yeah.
They're just, it's like...
I was doing it with my... oh my word.
Glad it's just not me sometimes.
You know when the brain needs to like.
Yeah.
It's the flowers, Stu, the trailing ones, the pansies, the best pansy cool waves. Thank you. Pansy cool waves. I was taking pictures of the pansy cool waves because they were all frosty and all looking a bit droopy. And then, like, literally an hour later, when the sun had got on, they were like, hello. Right, Alison sent a few pictures of things looking good in our garden. Also, buds waiting for spring. So what's she got in here? Wallflower, sunset, tutti fruit. I love how you label everything. That's very clever. I don't label anything. But you can see all those lovely buds and shoots starting to come through. She's attached a few more pictures on here as well. So let's have a little look. What else she's got going?
Euphorbia with don't move in summer.
I know. You're never going to let me live that down, are you? Oh, look, there's a rhododendron there. Something great big fat bud appearing on that one.
Just ready for May, just to explode into bloom in May.
What else has she attached on here?
Got a very dusty screen there.
We haven't. I need to clean it. Another picture of the roadie with all those big fat buds going on there.
That is going to be amazing, isn't it?
It's going to be so pretty, honestly.
Where are we now? So beginning of Feb,
Not
March,
long to
April.
wait.
About 3 months, that's all. And,
so that's all looking beautiful there, Alison. Olwen. Oh, Olwen, you sent pictures of your hollies. I do love a holly. I love a holly. It's something really. I think it transports me to my childhood. It makes me think of Christmas. I love them.
Yeah, they are really, really healthy.
Really
as well.
good.
And it's nice seeing the flowers and the berries at the same time.
Gorgeous. Well done, Olwen. Very, very nice. And finally, Amanda. Amanda has answered our call about the kiki pot. One of my birds of paradise in the kiki pot. I'll probably get more kiki so I can put the other one once it's bigger. Very nice. Well done, Amanda. That looks very nice.
I'm sure there are audience members, though, like me, who remember Zaza and Kiki.
I'm sure... Oh, Stu knows of it, and Stu's younger than me.
And there was Hector, big bird old Hector.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Hector's house. One was a frog, one was a cat, one was a dog.
No idea.
The frog had a French accent, I think.
Right.
Which would be slightly kind of, you know, bit questionable these days.
Let's move on, shall we, to our sorbet peony girl next door. Stu, I'm assuming that this is the most popular item on the show today. It certainly was on Thursday. Oh, it's level pegging with the hardy geraniums. Exciting. All right, so sorbet peony, girl next door. This is the peony that everybody's been talking about here at YouGarden. Everybody's been really, really excited about this one. The head gardener himself is incredibly excited about this one. Oh, did he? Okay, so we do TikTok lives as well, so for anybody that's interested, we are here on YGTV on a Thursday morning and a Sunday morning, but we also do TikTok lives as well, so we do those on a Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday afternoon. So if you've got TikTok, why don't you find YouGarden on there and come and join us on those lives. Apparently the head gardener invaded the TikTok live on Thursday afternoon to talk about this, even though they didn't have it on TikTok, but he still invaded it to talk about it.
He's a passionate man.
He is a passionate man.
I mean, how long has this company been going?
20 years.
20 years?
Yeah, 20-some, yeah, about that.
Well, to get a company from day one to here, as big as a massive this in 20 years...
It's pretty good, isn't it?
You've got to be a pretty passionate, dedicated individual to do that.
Yep.
And he has. And that's why we just have all these amazing plants.
But bear in mind, he's been talking about, you know, plants for well, he's been in gardening all his life. And I think once you're in it and you love it. But, you know, to at this stage, having done it for so long, get so excited about a particular plant, that really does say something about it, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. The only thing kind of, I almost feel they kind of misnamed this really, because you wouldn't want this next door.
We talked about this the other day.
You'd want it in your garden, not next door.
But the girl next door, she's the girl everybody wants.
Yes.
She's not the stunning beauty, she's not the peacock beauty, but she's got a kind of understated amazing beauty, and everybody wants the girl next door, the natural beauty.
And that is kind of like a saying.
And that's why I get it being called like that.
Because people say like the girl next door type or the boy next door type, don't they? And so they talk about, oh yeah, he was just a kind of normal boy next door type or girl next door type. So
no, it's the hidden beauty, you see.
But I mean this. Oh, goodness me. I mean, we see so many different peonies. What really fascinates me about peony flowers is they're all peonies, but the flower shape and texture and colour is just so different. Sometimes we see single peonies, sometimes we see double peonies. This one is not only a super, super incredible double peony, it almost looks like they've fused two peony flowers together, because you've got the petals on the top half. Well, look at it. The petals on the very top are facing upwards. The ones in the middle are horizontal. And the ones at the bottom are kind of facing downwards.
Yeah.
So whatever way you look at this flower, it looks incredible. And somehow, from some amazing breeding, they've managed to create that white ruffle of petals through the middle of this. And on top of all that,
clever, isn't it?
It's got gorgeous fragrance. It really is a stunning, stunning peony. In fact, it'd be really nice one day, probably can't do it, but it'd be really good to just have a whole row of 5 peonies on the show.
Oh, wouldn't it?
Because some of the peonies we brought to you are just so incredible, and this one is no different.
So this is what you'll be receiving, or at least one of them. That's one of the bare roots. You will get 4 of them included, and I want to point out this end here because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 amazingly healthy, big pink shoots coming off the top of that, and that's where that new growth is going to come from. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's another one down there as well.
That's like a little,
sure, that's a little one down there.
Really, on
is that an eye?
Little dormant eye, yeah.
Okay, well, there's definitely these 4, and that's where that growth is going to come from. So really, really good quality here. That needs to go just below soil surface. In fact, Adam's saying maybe just poking out the top, because right now you're starting to see that new growth coming through from your peonies. You will get foliage. You might get flowers this year. We'd like to think you'll get a flower or 2 this year, but really this is about planting for the future. Next year, you'll have even more. Year 3, oh, boom, you're going to have so many flowers. Each of these plants will get to probably about 1 metre by 1 metre, and you will have 20, 30 flowers per plant, as long as you look after it well. And they don't take much looking after, do they?
And just quickly, 2 options to get them started. You can plant them straight in the ground if you want to, put a bamboo cane next to them so you know where they are, or you can grow them on in pots. Put them in a pot with us fantastic compost. Just grow them on till about the end of June if you want to. Tip them out the pot. If they've got a really vigorous root system, then put them exactly where you want them to be, because sometimes when you've got herbaceous borders and you plant this time of year, you forget where other things are.
Yeah, I always do.
And then you put these in, and the next minute they're overwhelmed by something else. If you grow them on in a pot a little bit, then you know exactly where to put them once everything else is already matured.
Next up then, I do go for those. We'll come back to those in a little while. This is one of the hot items of today's show. This is the next hot item of the day's show, and that is the hardy geraniums, the bare roots, where you're getting 10 bare roots included in here. So I adore geraniums, hardy geraniums in particular, because, hey, they're hardy. But you get months of flowering, they're super easy, and you don't need to do pretty much anything other than plant and leave.
Yeah, once these are established...
Them, not leave.
Yeah, I mean, geraniums are one of the easiest perennials to grow. Once you planted them, you just leave them, and they will grow in a variety of soils, in a variety of locations.
I found part shade is actually better than full sun, though they can cope with full sun quite happily, but my slightly shadier border... The hardy geranium is more vigorous there than in the full sun border. Yeah,
which kind of makes sense because, you know, plants that are slightly shady, they tend to become a little bit more, not etiolated, but they tend to become a little bit more leggy, because they can be. Whereas obviously when you're in full sun and you're a little bit more droughted, you've got to be a bit more restricted in your growth because you've got to conserve moisture. You know, you can't afford to be so flamboyant. So, but the good thing about them is, you know, whether it is partially shaded or full sun, they will grow in those conditions. They'll grow on most soils, apart from really long-term, very heavy waterlogged soils. And you'll get months and months and months of flowers from these. From about June, these start flowering and they keep going. My geranium rozanne kept going right the way through till November last year. So we're talking ages, and pollinators adore them. They do. And these ones, the rozanne that we're going to bring you later on is a very, very vigorous geranium. These ones are much, much more compact. These are what we call like the crane's bill type of geranium. So you can even plant these on rockeries. The trough we've got, you could plant those in the trough. Yeah, they'd look great in the trough. Look beautiful. The Durham planter look fantastic in there. Probably 3 in there. Yeah, 3 or 4 on a windowsill. You could grow these in hanging baskets. Yep. They're really, really flexible and adaptable. And once you've planted them, they last donkey's years. They're bone hardy, drought tolerant. They're just one of these plants that, for minimum input, will just give you the most amazing amount of joy and colour. Yeah, without any hassle or effort. £1.44 each. They break down as if you are in the club. So this is really about getting amazing value for money, but a long flowering season. Next up, we have for you the Pineberry, where you're going to get 20 runners included in here. It's an incredible strawberry, basically, but a strawberry with a slight difference. Yeah, basically these strawberries are more of a soft sort of pinky colour. And they're just as sweet. And when you try them, some people say they've got kind of a hint of pineapple to them as well. Because I've grown them, and there is a slight difference. I'm not going to say it's overly, but it's just a slight difference in the flavour. Delicious still, though. And also, a good thing about these is the birds tend to leave them alone, because birds fly by, they don't look ripe. So the birds think, no, I'm going to leave those a few weeks till they're nice and red, then I'll go and destroy that person's crop. Well, with these, the birds will leave them alone. So you can get these right to the point where they're perfectly, perfectly ripe. No need to net them or cage them or anything like that. And yeah, and a bowl of these, you've got friends coming round, you've got a party, a summer party, somewhere like that, and you serve people up a bowl of these, they're going to think, wow, what are these? And especially if you could sort of mix in, well, they're probably honeyberries have gone over by then, but I'm just thinking... Well, even with your other strawberries and any other fruits you've got going on, make yourself a pavlova, add those onto the top. A lot of top chefs have been using these previously. They were available for sale in one of those fancy supermarkets that I can't afford to shop in. But they were charging a lot of money for them. Well, just grow them yourself. They are winter hardy, super easy. Just treat them like you do any other strawberry. Put them in a nice full sun position. Cut off the runners, create new strawberry plants from them, but you are getting 20 included in here. So I can't even do the maths. It's like 67 pence per runner or something or other it breaks down as if you are in the club. 320-099 is the item number if you would like to go for 64 pence. I wasn't far off. If you'd like to go for the strawberry pineberry. And not forgetting the lovely flowers as well. Yeah, beautiful flowers. Really lovely flowers on those. Skyscraper lilies is what we've got for you next, and this is all about getting fragrance and fantastic flowers in your garden. Tree lilies is what we call these, because these can get up to 6 feet in height. They are. These are magnificent. These are real statement lilies, and they're great for the middle of the border, back of the border, and they don't really mind growing in between other things. This is Stu's garden. You can see these lilies are just making their way up from that Mediterranean fan palm, and they're liking that position because their bulbs are in the ground, in the shade, so they're nice and cool and moist, which is what they like. But then the flowers and the stems are up in the full sun, so that is where they're really, really happy. And look at those. I mean, they are dramatic. The flowers are huge. They're fragranced as well. Stu's saying there's about 6-7 years in there, so already, I mean, you can tell by the height of the fence at the back. Most fences are about 6 foot tall, aren't they? Those fence panels, and you can see they're tickling the top of the fence there already. So, you know, coming on for a couple of metres, and many flowers. I mean, look at these ones. That's mad. I mean, already oodles of flowers, Bex, but look further up. Look at all the buds.
Yeah, I mean, it's not one flower per stem. You do get multiples, and once these are established, we are talking 20 plus per stem. Very little need for staking here either, you know, because they are tree lilies. They are bred specifically to have really nice, strong, sturdy stems. There are other lilies, and I grow lots of them in my garden. They need staking. I don't mind doing it, but, you know, it can be a pain for some people. These really don't need it. If you are going to plant them somewhere, you know, more windy, then all right, you might need to stake them then, but ultimately they have been grown for strength, vigour and flowering ability. 650086 is the item number. You're going to get 15 bulbs included, 3 of each, and we're taking £23 off the price there. £14.41 if you are in the club. 15 bulbs in total.
That's insane.
It is insane, isn't it?
That's less than £1 a bulb, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, for bulbs like that, mad.
Next we're going to go in the green, and we're going to have bluebells for you. And I love bluebells, and I love the fact that we've got our English native bluebells, and it's really fascinating when you look into bluebell history and stuff. I'll always quote this one, but over half the world's population of bluebells will be found in the UK, and I love that, and I love that we're bringing you the native bluebells. These are easy, aren't they?
They are easy, and we've made it easy as well, because if you buy things like snowdrops or bluebells in those packets that are hanging up in the garden centres, I'm not saying they won't grow.
They're difficult though, aren't they?
They yeah, because things like bluebells and snowdrops, they don't like their bulbs to be out of the ground for a long period of time. So when you buy them in those packets, they struggle to re-establish, and they may not even re-establish properly. So when you buy them in the green, it literally means as they're actively growing. They've got an actively growing top, they've got actively growing roots. So these have only just been lifted in the last few days. You'll get these home, you'll put them back in the ground, they'll carry on growing, and they'll barely know they've been moved. And what that means is they get established much more quickly. They're much more likely to establish. So I'm not saying this is an exact science. You might buy 100 bluebell bulbs, and perhaps only 85% of them will flourish and continue. Yeah. You buy these in the green, you're pretty much guaranteed for every single one of them to re-establish and get going, because they've not been put in that state of suspended animation that they don't like. So get these in, and chances are some of these may even flower for you this year. They'll definitely flower for you next year. And
then they're going to multiply as well, and this is what I like. They form gorgeous clumps that you can then divide and move around your garden, and they're so reliable, they're so easy, and they can go in the shady spots, but they also really are quite happy in a full sun position as well. I've got clumps of them all over my garden, and they do perfectly no matter which side of the garden they are in. 630011 is the item number if you'd like to go for the bluebells. We're going to get 25 of those, but we do have snowdrops available, so same story here, in the green, much more chance of success. But you're going to get 50 of the single flowered snowdrops here, and they are £19.99 or £16.99 if you're in the club. Make sure you're using the code YGTV0525 in order to place your order, because that's where you get the savings. And just to retell the story that Sean was telling earlier, he took his mum to the garden centre, coffee, cake, you know, and then they were leaving, and there was some pots of snowdrops, and she was all like, I really want some snowdrops, so he bought them for her. But they were a few pounds each pot. We did the maths to work out to get 50 snowdrops for the same price. It was going to be 46 quid or something or other, something close to that. So just to highlight the kind of savings and kind of deals that you do get here at YGTV. I love going to the garden centre, genuinely do. Sometimes we'll buy a plant, but rarely. I go for the coffee, I go for the cake, I go to look round and get some ideas.
I noticed, Bex, as well, can't guarantee this, but I noticed on the green ones that we've got in the studio, some have got flowers on.
Yes.
They're actually flowering right now.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely. So next we're going to go over to the compost, and actually we're going to hear from our head gardener, who does know quite a thing or two about his plants and also about his compost. Let's hear from Peter while he tells us about how amazing this compost is.
We describe this as premium professional compost. And the reason for that is it is the compost that is known, this formula we have perfected over decades. I've been using it for decades. We have perfected it over decades. You've got a blend of the best peats plus wood fibre that you can imagine. Now, by volume, approximately 50% of this compost is wood fibre, and the balance is made up of a blend of peats, and there are 3 different peats. So you've got things like sphagnum moss peat, which is renewable. You've got sedge peat, and then you've got darker sphagnum as well in there. So you've got 3 different peats. You've also got, you can see actually just there, there's slow release fertiliser. These little green, what look like little eggs, you'll see those dotted among the compost when you're planting it. That's slow release fertiliser. One of the most expensive ingredients in any compost is fertiliser. You can see there's another one just down below. That is amazing because that will deploy nutrients to the roots of whatever you grow in this compost just when they need it over the next 6 months. You then got what's called a buffer. Now, peat in particular is naturally acidic. And plants like to be just on the acidic side of neutral as a generality. There are exceptions, so things like rhododendrons and azaleas, they love to be properly acidic in terms of the ericaceous soil or compost they're growing in. But most things like it just on the slightly acidic edge of neutral. So that's what this is designed to give you. So it's got a pH buffer to keep it in exactly that zone. The wood fibre keeps the sort of perfect air-water porosity ratio, which is what we talk about in the trade, all these complicated terms. But it's, what plants need is they need a jungle gym to grow in. So they need a jungle gym for their roots, which is called growing medium. They need some water, and they need some air, and they need nutrients. And when you've got the perfect compost, it blends the air and the water and the constituents of the compost. It all blends together to give the perfect environment. That's what this particular compost does, which is why it's trusted by us. We will be growing approximately 150,000 potted roses on this nursery this year. That's roughly what we grow most years. We'll be growing, I don't know how many hanging baskets, but our pre-planted hanging baskets that will be available later, you will have bought them in the autumn and last spring as well. They grow in this compost. We will grow countless perennials, whether they be in the 9 centimetre square pots or the 3 litre pots or the 5 litre pots, plus fruit trees. And this is the compost we use for all of those things. So we trust it, the trade trusts it, and actually based upon well, literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands of bags of this particular compost that you've bought over the years, you definitely trust it as well. And, you know, and actually, peat is a thing. We need to think about peat. Not me. I happen to also be peat, but it's the peat that's in here that we're talking about. We can still use peat in our gardens right now, and actually the alternatives, generally speaking, are a bit iffy. So if you want to get the best results, in my view, use this particular compost for as long as you can. It's got 50% other material in it, which is the lowest level we could get to and still have a professional quality product for you and for ourselves. So we've been as eco-friendly as we can, and we jumped onto that particular that approach years and years and years ago. So this is the same formulation that we've had for at least the last 6 or 7 years, with 50% other material to bulk out the peat, and it still works better. So I would say this is, in my opinion, it's the only compost I use at home. It's the compost we use on the nursery. I can't recommend it highly enough. Yeah.
Well, there you go. We heard from our head gardener as to why that compost is absolutely amazing. So maybe time to stock up on it. Just to point out, by the way, that the price we've got on the compost right now is lower than we had it in December. So we had to put the price up. Unfortunately, prices of things do go up. We'd kept it static for ages, and it did have to go up. But then, for some reason, they brought it back down again. I don't know what's going on. But it does get delivered to your door in those 2 50-litre bags, boxed as well. So maybe stock up before we put the price back up again. Right, so thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thank you so much for your orders. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for joining in, sending any messages, photos, emails, all of that. We really appreciate it. It wouldn't be the same if it was just us standing here talking. It's much more fun when you interact and join in with us. So thank you so much. We are here on YGTV twice a week, aren't we? We do Sunday mornings, but we also do Thursday mornings as well. 9:30 on a Sunday morning. Currently, it's from 10 o'clock on a Thursday morning. We do tend to mix the hours up and change them around a little bit throughout the seasons, but we'll keep you updated on what we do. We're also live on TikTok as well, so we do Tuesday afternoons, Thursday afternoons and Sunday afternoons on TikTok from about 1:30, 2 o'clock time is when we're live on there. It's a bit different. We have different items. If you want to come and join us on there, you are welcome to. We also do shows on QVC every now and then as well. Sean is there today, so if you want to go and check him out at some point, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, we do broadcast in lots of different places and we very much enjoy having your company. If you want to get some amazing prices and the best deals, then you're in the right place. You're watching YGTV, where we will give you free postage no matter the size of your order. If you want to order just one item from us, we'll deliver it free of charge. The only thing you have to do is enter the offer code that you can see on screen. It's YGTV0525. That's this week's code. It does change every week. If you want to join our discount club, here's another way of getting amazing savings, because you'll get a 15% discount off pots, plants, compost, everything that you see in the show. You will also get a £20 worth of YouGarden vouchers. It splits down into 4 vouchers of £5 each. Little secret there is they've all got dates on. So it says you're supposed to use them within 3 months. You do have to use them before the expiry dates, let's point that out. But you can actually use them all in the same day. You have to place 4 different orders, but you can actually use them in the same day. And the head gardener told me that when he came in here and did this. And so I don't feel bad telling you because he said it. But you'll also get a couple of postage vouchers as well, worth £6.99 each. So the cost of the club is £10 per year, one-off cost. You'll pay that when you first join. And then every single time you place an order, you'll get that 15% discount. Sometimes you make that money back in the first order that you place. Sometimes it'll be the first couple of orders, but you will make that money back and then save from that point on. So, he's put some details on the bottom of the screen. If you want to follow us on social media, you are more than welcome to. Adam is on Instagram and TikTok as adam.woolcott. It's easy to find him. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on TikTok as well. If you search for Bex Edwards, you'll be able to find me in any of those places. If you want to talk to us, you can email us on ygtv@yougarden.com. You can message us on YouTube and you can message us on Facebook as well. And I think I've covered everything there. So thanks ever so much to you all. We've still got 1 whole hour remaining. Woohoo! And we're going to bring you to the winter clematis collection. This one's already busy. You've got ahead of us on the website. If you want to, by the way, go to yougarden.com, click the Live Now button, scroll down. That's where all the items are selected for the show today. Those are the items that you'll get free postage on as long as you use the offer code YGTV0525. It's at the top there, but it might be at the bottom of the phone. If you're on your phone, it just depends how big your phone is, basically. But just look for the Live Now button. Those are all the items we've selected for the show. We've got a maple collection, Acer collection. That's the deal of the week. We've got our lavender standard in there. We've got those roses that come with the free bloom booster. We've got the geraniums. Oh, the Eryngium, the blue hobbit. I love that one. I've got that in my garden. There's so many things in there. Apparently Stu's got something to show us. Oh, he's going to do it in a second. Should we start talking about clematis first? No? We're going to wait for Stu. We're going to be patient. Better. I'm being patient, Stu. It's fine. Right. If you are on your phones, on the website, he's going to show you something here. So when the little thumbnails come up of the pictures, and there's like an arrow pointing side to side. So when you click in, look, there we are. Look, YGTV. There's Peter's face. If you have trouble finding us, look. Can you see that bit there? You just scroll down a little bit. Click on that. And then watch our live show, latest live show, the green one. And then there's a show, and now you're going to scroll down. Now you see those arrows on either side there? You'd think that they were pictures of the same thing, wouldn't you? But they're not. Look, Stu's scrolling through those and you can see they are different items. So don't just go up and down. Do look at those arrows and scroll across, because otherwise you'll be missing out on some items. I hope that made sense.
Yeah.
If you turn your phone sideways, then it's a bit easier because you get more of them showing up.
Because, you know, I'm not super technical, but that's something I discovered not so long back. Because I think I was scrolling down.
You just think they're the same, pictures of the same thing, the same item, but they're not. You have to scroll through.
I think I was on Amazon and I was just going down, and then I realised I could see half a picture on there.
Yeah, and then you
realised. Then I thought, there's loads more options on the other. So I just scrolled across. Yeah. So I guess it's a way of just getting a lot more on one
Absolutely.
page.
All right, let's take you onto our winter clematis collection, because in here you're going to get 3 different varieties of clematis, but we've got evergreen, we've got winter flowering, and we've got a really long flowering season as well. But evergreen, first of all, that doesn't happen with clematis.
Well, not normally. I mean, Stu was just talking to me a little while back, just saying, he had a sort of clematis in his garden that kind of looks good. Well, not for him very much, because it tends to just flop over the top of the fence into the neighbour's garden. They have all the flowers. And then until it's finished flowering, Stu has to cut it down, and then he's just looking at bare sticks for like a long, long time before he gives his neighbour the thrill of it all again the following year. With this, even when it's not flowering, these clematis do look fantastic because of their foliage. And look how gorgeous the foliage looks. I mean, we're only the 2nd of February. And these have got really super, super glossy leaves. And another good thing about them is one of these clematis has actually got distinctly different leaves to the others as well. So in that mix, you're getting sort of different leaf shapes. You're going to get 3 slightly different flowers. One that's got sort of those lovely sort of freckly kind of look to them, which is absolutely fantastic, called Freckles. You've got one that's white with the green centre, and then one that's sort of just more kind of pure white. So 3 fabulous kind of sort of colour mixes in there as well. And don't we say some of these are fragrant? I'm sure I remember saying about
there's supposed to be some fragrance to some of these too.
On these as well.
We've got a couple that have got the RHS Award of Garden Merit as well.
Which, again, any plant that gets the RHS Award of Garden Merit, that's a plant that, in the eyes of the RHS, probably one of the most famous sort of gardening societies on earth. They've decided, those plants have so many amazing attributes that they're worthy of that accolade. So you always know you're buying a fantastic plant when that happens. But it's just good to know that in the middle of the winter, you can have a clematis that's in full bloom. And I think a couple of weeks ago, I was telling you, I was working at a garden, I think it was just after Christmas, and in the neighbour's garden behind was a big bare hazelnut tree. But one of these winter flowering clematis has made its way up through the hazelnut tree, and it was dripping with these white flowers in January. And I thought, wow, that is really, really nice. I tried to get a picture of it, but I couldn't get in close enough to get a decent picture, but I could see with my own eyes, how fantastic it looked.
Well, winter fragrance and winter flowers are, not always the easiest to come by, but clematis is really nice and easy, and you will get winter fragrance and winter flowers and winter foliage, so there's nothing not to like about this one. That was a double negative. You know what I was trying to say though, don't you? 550372 is the item number if you'd like to go for that. 3 different varieties included in there. And we've taken a tenner off that one as well. Even more if you're in the club. Next, we've got our Freesias next to you. So we've got the Freesias, the double mixed corms included in here. And the important thing to tell you is these have been heat treated.
Yep.
Which is important, isn't it? To help ensure that success.
Yeah, it means that they're going to flower for you in the summer when you want them to flower. And Freesias, I have a sort of a special affinity with Freesias because my very earliest memory of getting into gardening, and I've told this story before, when I was 5 years of age, my dad built me a wooden box. I remember he painted it white, he filled it with soil, and my mum got me a pack of Freesia bulbs, and they were single Freesias, like you see here. And I planted those Freesia, I think they're corms strictly, but I planted them, they flowered, and I could just remember them flowering. And from that day on, I was hooked.
I know.
And
I love that.
Well, I'm glad I chose Freesias as well, because when you're a young kid, you love colour, don't you? You can't get enough colour. So I think it was the fact the Freesias were so multicoloured, that's what really drew me in. And they had fragrance as well. So to have that experience from that very young age, that just got me into gardening, and for ever since, I'm nearly 60 now, I've always adored Freesias, and they've always had that happy kind of sort of memory for me.
Yeah.
And they really are a divine flower. I mean, probably most of you had Freesias in your, indoors, in vases as cut flowers.
Yeah, you've always got them in a bouquet or something.
Yeah, we've got some
Everyone
at the moment.
will have had them at some point.
On the living room table, we've got a bunch of them. They're kind of a deep orangey kind of colour. They're just starting to go over a little bit, but the last sort of 3 or 4 nights, I've been sitting there watching telly, and all of a sudden it's like,
oh, you get that little scent, yeah.
Wow, can you smell those Freesias? Yeah, they were just filling the living room with fragrance. So they're incredibly fragrant. They're beautiful, beautiful colours. Great for beds, borders, pots, troughs, wherever you want to grow them, really. Just spectacular. And, at this price, to be honest, I would grow some for ornamental purposes, and I'd get another packet and I'd grow them in a row somewhere on your allotment or kitchen
just
garden
for the cut flowers.
For cut flowers.
Absolutely. Pack of 50 of those corms available for you. The Freesias with a £3 saving on there, so $9.99, $8.49 in the club. Take that extra 15% discount. Why not? And have those beautiful flowers, the fragrance, and the colour in your garden this summer. 630184 is the item number. Next up, we go to the Eryngium. Blue Hobbit. I adore this.
They are great, aren't they?
I love it. I was fascinated by this when we first brought this, and this was when we were back on Ideal World back in the day when we used to do shows there. This is in my garden. I mean, that was later on in the season. They were just starting to go over at the bottom there, but I quite liked it. Look at that. There is no editing on that photo. That is the colour that you get, okay? So they start off this lovely green colour and then they just turn into, I mean, they go sort of an icy blue, but then an electric blue. That's right towards the end of the season as well. You can see where they're starting to go over at the top there. But, oh, my word, honestly. And that was 2023 or 20... That was 23 that was done. I was having a look through my videos the other day. So this year it's going to be even bigger. Yeah. But it's the Hobbit variety we've got, so this one's a bit smaller, isn't it?
Absolutely. And
sorry, I spoke a lot then.
No, it's great because, if you've got that in your garden, Bex, that's the thing. When you've grown something yourself and it's succeeded, you have that passion and enthusiasm to share it and talk about it.
I think it's fascinating, the contrast you get as well with, because it's thistles, or thistle looking. It's got the sharp spikiness to it.
Its common name is sea holly.
Yeah.
That's its common name, and that's a bit of a clue in the name really, because I remember some years ago we, myself and John, we went to see a garden in Dungeness, created by a chap called Derek Jarman, who I think used to be an author. He's not around anymore, but he created this famous garden on Dungeness, growing this garden just out of rocks and stones and pebbles. And because it's a triple SI site, he wasn't allowed to bring any compost or soil in, so he could only grow in what was there. Mm-hmm. And these Eryngiums were practically growing out of sand and shale and gravel and stones, and that's the kind of position they like. They love full sun. They do well in really, really dry positions.
Yeah, they're
really
drought tolerant.
Soil, super drought tolerant once they're established. But oh my goodness me! Again, John's got loads in the front garden at home, and when they are in, at full pelt like this in the summer. The blue on these, I mean, it's almost like bluebell coloured blue.
I love them.
On those bracts and on the stems. It looks like somebody's come along in the night
spray painted
them. But that is the real colour. These are dramatic. They're not only dramatic colour-wise, but the actual structure of the plant is quite dramatic. They almost look something from another planet, like an avatar kind of plant. They are. They're amazing. They'll come back year after year. They look nothing this time of year, but don't be put off by that.
Please don't be fooled by that. Honestly, they come back. They do die back down every single winter, and they will grow up into the most beautiful thing that you're seeing here. All three of those included. We've taken £15 off. You are getting them for $14.97, $12.72 if you are in the club, and you will have three of those beauties. They grow to about 50 or 60 centimetres high, and they will spread as well.
And once they get going, they grow quick, don't you? You notice. Once they start, once
they get going, you do see a really good display.
Move on, don't they?
Right, where are we going to? Sorry. Snowdrops. Okay, so over here to the snowdrops, the in the green that we've been talking to you about. Obviously, we've had the blue ones for you. We've had the bluebells in the green, but now we're on to the snowdrops, and you are going to get, I think it's 50 of them, isn't it? You're going to get 50 of these, and you're right, look, some of them have even got flowers attached.
And in flower. Look at that, isn't that brilliant? I mean, you don't get that on a pack of dried up manky bulbs, do you? Like hanging up in the garden centre. You just get these dried looking bulbs that are not inspiring at all. Look at these. I mean, these are literally as they're meant to be right now, and they've been gently, kindly lifted out of the ground. They've been put in these plastic bags, and they're as happy as Larry in these bags. All you've got to do is transplant them back into the soil. And they'll be flowering when you put them back in the soil.
Yep.
And they're going to keep flowering for another couple of weeks or so. They'll get themselves established year on year on year. They'll form bigger colonies. They'll spread by seed. They'll seed themselves about, but also they create extra bulbils as well that will actually increase the amount you've got underground. And eventually you'll need to lift them and split them and replant them. When you do replant these, you can plant them individually or plant them in little groups of twos or threes. Go for threes, little groups of threes. But don't don't get the whole bag and just stick them in one big clump. Try and, you know, spread them out a little bit.
Yeah, and that's how you get those clumps happening, and it looks quite natural in that way. If you put them all in together, it'll just look a bit, it'll be too crowded.
It will. And just plant them somewhere in your garden where you know they're going to stay moist all the year through.
And a bit of shade.
And a bit of shade. So under some trees, the base of hedges, you know, but places that will stay moist with some organic material, or even your lawn if you want to. But once they're established, that's it. You've got these for life.
630009 is the item number if you'd like to go for the 50 single-flowered snowdrops that are in the green, helping you to ensure that success when you get them planted. £16.99 if you are in the club. Make sure you're using the offer code. This week's code is YGTV0525. That's how you unlock your discounts in your savings and your free postage, which is on every single item. Doesn't matter if you just come in and buy one item, you will get free postage as long as you use that code. Excuse me, I've got a little tickle in my throat. I'm going to have another drink. Next up, we've got our Geranium rozanne, plant of the centenary at the Royal Horticultural Society at Chelsea Flower Show. Plant of the centenary, not just plant of the year, plant of the centenary. And I have this in my garden and I absolutely adore it. It's definitely in my list of top 10 plants to have in the garden. Yeah,
I planted silly amounts of Geranium rozanne, dozens and dozens and dozens. In fact, a garden comes to mind like I used to look after, I don't anymore because I've moved, but I used to look after a garden in Hatfield Heath in Essex, and we did a planting job there, and we planted loads of the paniculata hydrangeas. So we had these huge, great big conicals of white flower heads. Then we planted shrubby hypericum in between, and then we underplanted with Geranium rozanne.
Oh, nice.
And wow, they are the most spectacular geranium going. I mean, one of these plants, I kid you not, once established, will cover an area of a square metre, just one on their own.
They do. Mine has filled out that much for sure.
And I've seen them do a few weird things as well. In another garden I looked after, near a place called Rickling Green, I planted loads of these, and one of them grew up against a rose shrub, and then it grew up through the rose. So, yeah, I mean, by the end of the summer, when I cut it back, there was one stem on it. I kid you not, it was about 2.5 metres long. Yeah. But they flower for a silly amount of time. They flower for a good 3 or 4, 5 months. Yeah. And you don't need to deadhead them. They're super drought tolerant. You plant them where you want them to be. You leave them and they just look like this for month after month after month. And
if they get too big, you know, you can actually just trim them back. So, you know, mine has spread and I've let it spread. It is kind of taking over the sarcococca a little bit. I might have to move the sarcococca or just trim the Geranium rozanne back. But don't worry, if it does spread, you can trim it back and maintain the size of it. I love mine. I love how it's mixed in.
They look good.
There's the sarcococca at the back, look. So the Eryngium and Ear to making friends. I love my little Rudbeckia to the side of it. It's beautiful, honestly. Super easy. 480120 is the item number. You're going to get 3 of those 9 centimetre pots, and that is 2 years old. Is it 2 or 3 years old?
But the cutting back thing you mentioned, Bex.
I think it's 2 or 3. So it's 3. It'd be 3 years old this year. Then I would have planted it in 23. So, and that's filled a really big area in that time. Sorry, you were going to say.
That's fine. You said about the cutting back thing. Again, John has these in the front garden, and they go really, really mad. And what John tends to do, sometimes about mid-August, John gives them a right good trim back, gives them a good drink.
Another flower.
Boom, they come back again, and then they keep going right up. And honestly, I'm not just saying this. They keep going right up until November.
Yeah, until we get the first hard frost.
Yeah, and that's
they'll cope with a tiny bit of cold, but hard frost, then they'll give up.
That's phenomenal.
They're brilliant. 480120 9 centimetre pots, £10 saving. Let's go and have a look in Sean's garden, shall we?
Well, this is Geranium rozanne in my garden, and there's 2 plants in. I planted them almost 3 years ago. They were in 2 litre pots, I remember, and they've just gone absolutely crazy. And they're beautiful. And I'll be honest, this summer, I haven't fed them yet. I haven't deadheaded. I haven't trimmed them. I've just let them do their own thing. And what is so lovely, the colour is amazing. So from the top of the garden, you see this just mass of mauve. They, for me, are just such a wonderful plant, and I can see why they won Plant of the Centenary at Chelsea. And what that basically means is, in 1913, Chelsea was celebrating its 100th year, and this plant was chosen to be the best plant over that 100 years. So absolutely incredible. Now, in the wintertime, it will die down. And what I'm going to do in spring, I'm going to separate them a bit because they've gone a bit wild here. I might even divide them as well because you can divide them. But for the time being, for the rest of this summer, I'm just going to leave them because they look absolutely glorious. The pollinators love them as well. And the amount of colour you get, I mean, there's hundreds of flowers there, and these have looked this good for the last several months. It's an amazing plant and one I'd highly recommend in any garden.
It does look good in Sean's garden, doesn't it? I mean, the thing is, though, you don't have to know anything about gardening. You don't have to have acres. I mean, Sean's got a beautiful garden. He's got a really nice, big, lovely garden. You don't need masses of space. You can have a normal, bog standard, you know, family garden like I've got. You could even have just a patio because you could grow it in pots. Like, honestly, doesn't matter the size of your garden, doesn't matter your ability. You can grow Geranium rozanne. That's what made it Plant of the Centenary at the RHS Chelsea show. You know, there's no way it would have won that award if it wasn't good for everybody in their garden.
And I reckon, Bex, if you grew it, say for instance, if you planted a couple in one of these Durham planters, put that on a windowsill, I bet your bottom dollar it would trail. It would trail down.
Definitely.
And look amazing.
Definitely. Yeah, highly recommended from us. Good morning to, we're still in the morning, good morning to Simon, who's joined us in the chat.
Hi, Simon
was asking if we're going to be doing the sun gold tomatoes, my favourites. I grew those, and yeah, we will be. I'm sure we absolutely will. In fact, yes, Stu answered you on that one. So I just wanted to say good morning to him, and also good morning to Glyn. Did we answer Glyn's question yet? We didn't answer it yet, did we? So Glyn has got variegated holly, but its leaves have gone smooth over the years. Any ideas why? Adam knows why.
Well,
or he thinks he does.
Yeah, holly. When holly grows in the wild, while it's quite low and it's likely to be grazed by deer and stuff, the leaves stay really, really spiky to defend it. Once those leaves get above the height where grazing animals can reach, then they stop producing the spines because they don't need it. So sometimes, as a holly matures, it will change from spiny leaves to smooth leaves.
There you go. How interesting. So hopefully we've answered your question there, Glenn. Amanda's got a question, but she's on Facebook, so Stu's going to tell me that. The Camellia Yuletide is losing leaves. Any idea why? It shouldn't be, because it's evergreen.
It is evergreen, but sometimes...
They sometimes drop a few, don't they?
Yeah, what you tend to find is as you get towards late winter and into spring, even though they're evergreen, what plants like camellias and that will do, they will start to shed some of their older leaves before they start to produce the new leaves in the spring. If you think about Photinia red robin, for example.
Yeah, mine drop leaves all the time. Yeah. It's evergreen, but it constantly drops leaves.
You find in particular late winter into spring, it has a big shed of old leaves as the new leaves come on. So it could be just natural shedding. But if you've just noticed, generally the plant's looking a little bit yellow and not as green as it should be, it might have something called chlorosis. So in that case, just water it with a liquid ericaceous feed. Yeah. And that will green it up and keep it much more happy. Yeah, and they do want ericaceous feed, so have a little look out for ericaceous feed for your ericaceous loving plants. All right, let's move on, shall we? Oh, did anybody send any emails? I didn't check the emails. Have we had any fresh emails coming in? Julia's sent one about Hector's house. Julia. Morning, Adam and Bex. I remember Hector's house. Yay. My sister had a cot mattress with Hector's house on. Oh, that's brilliant. A blast from the past. Oh, that's good.
There you go. We can rely on Adam to give you blasts from the past.
It used to be on just before the news.
Did it?
Yeah. About 5... I'm glad you did that. It's been bugging the hell out of me.
Yeah, it's been really annoying me as well now.
I keep seeing it side on and I thought I'm going to have to give...
There we go.
Yeah,
nice
look at that. That's nice.
All right, shall we move on now then? We're going to move on to our lavender standard that we've got for you. This one's been quite popular actually so far, and we've got a double up deal available on this one. So you can go for one if you want to. It's $39.99 or $33.99 if you're in the club, 15% discount. However, if you'd like to go for two and go for a double up deal, you'll get two for $49.99, or with your discount, that will be I can't remember what for 15% discount is, but it'll be 15% off that. Here's Sean with his in his pub garden, or it's a similar variety, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a Canarian. I think this is a Lavender canariensis, which is sort of similar.
Yeah.
Not as hardy as the Munstead that we're doing. Yeah, this Munstead is really, really hardy, but it's the same kind of principle there. But you know what I'd quite like to do myself. We've got these standard lavenders. It'd be really nice to underplant them with white and pink lavender.
Oh yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
So you could have the purple lavender on top, and then like a little sea of pink and white lavender underneath.
Oh, very pretty.
Work quite well.
Now, if you do want to get the lavenders and you would like to get 2 of them, they are fantastic. You need to put 2 in your basket, enter the code, and that's where you're going to get that discount applied for you. And of course, there's no postage to pay on these. Add a bit of height, add a bit of sophistication into your gardens, and get some standards in there. We do really well with our standards here, and it does make the most of all the space that you have in your garden, because obviously you get the height and then you can underplant, as Adam was suggesting. Invite those pollinators in as well. 510574 is the item number. Now, if you've already placed an order today, but you've seen something that you like, don't worry, you can place another order. There are no postage costs to pay on anything that we bring you from the potting shed. As long as you're using the code, you can come in, you can place, as soon as you see something you like, place an order. Then if you see something else, place another order. You don't have to worry about postage costs, which is brilliant. Callicarpa is the next one we want to show you, and I'm going to find my phone because I've got Callicarpa in my garden.
I've seen some absolutely spectacular ones. This is called beautyberry as well, and it's, you know, you can see why, can't you? Again, a little dirty mark on my hand. That's not good, is it? When you look at those berries, you could be forgiven for thinking they've been stuck on.
Yeah.
That they're artificial, but they're not. I mean, they are, like, I would say, a metallic purple. You could say kind of almost like a metallic purple, aren't they? I mean, they are really, really knockout berries.
They are, and you know, I was reading about this one as well. So Callicarpa or profusion is it's an upgrade basically on other varieties, because actually other varieties of Callicarpa have to be grown in groups in order to ensure your berry production.
Yeah, the pollination stuff.
But profusion doesn't need that. You will still get really good berry production from this just being planted on its own.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, it is one of the, well, it's the best, I think, Callicarpa to grow. The weird thing is, I've seen these growing all over the place, and I really, really noticed the berries, but I've never really noticed the flowers.
Yeah.
I think the flowers are quite small.
The flowers are quite small. The foliage is actually quite
nice,
fascinating,
yeah.
And that's something I never took a picture of over the summer, and I will do this year. That was it when I first got it, and I hadn't actually planted it yet. But yeah, it's beautiful, and even on a grey, dull day, it still looked absolutely amazing. And then the foliage that came from it was really interesting, quite large leaves, and you get a nice green colour to it, and it turns a lovely golden colour just before it drops in winter time. There's a lot to look at with this plant.
And they're really kind of strongly veined and ribbed kind of leaves, aren't they?
Really ribbed.
Yeah, really, really nice leaves. And I mean, one of these shrubs can get a couple of metres tall. I've seen them, you know, a couple of metres, even taller than that. But you can prune them down. You can keep them restricted if you want to, but
yeah. I like the idea of these massive covered in berries.
I do. That's
can you imagine?
I think it'd be a shame to. You can see the flowers there, look, but it'd be a shame to trim it down. I would find a permanent place for this plant in a corner somewhere where you can let it grow up really, really tall, because this time of year, when the winter sun hits this shrub and it is covered in these berries.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Oh, it's something to behold. It
silly
really,
little
really
thing.
is.
I like the fact that the pot colour matches the berry colour as well. But if you, silly little thing, but I do quite like that. But if you want to keep it in the pot for a little while, that's fine. Or if you're giving it as a gift, that's a wonderful thing. I kept mine in my pot for about 3 months, I think, before I actually got around to planting it out. It just sat in the pot for ages. So that's why I quite liked it's in the same coloured pot. We have got a £10 saving on this one. It's £19.99. It's £16.99 if you are in the club, of course. Make sure you're using the code to get the discount, and it will be delivered free of charge. Not free of postage charge, as long as you use that code.
Isn't it? Free of charge.
Hey! 510525 is the item number if you'd like to go for the Callicarpa Profusion Beauty Berry. It is a stunner, honestly. There's lots to look at with that one. We're going to give you a little reminder of basically everything that's really popular. So we're going to show them everything. Is that right? It's quite a lot we're going to show you. We're just going to show you the top sellers from today, and then we've got about 35 minutes left for you. So, hardy geranium's taken over from the sorbet peony. This one's the one that's out in the lead at the moment. So you're going to get 10 of the bare roots included in this particular deal here. We'll give you the details for it because it does break down to like £1.44 per bare root. 580009 is the item number. Lovely mix of colours included. Really tough, really easy, and flowering for months on end. Grab that one, it's the most popular one today. Next up, we've got the Geranium Rozanne, and the two of these things can go hand in hand, by the way. I would definitely get both. You don't have to get one or the other, you can get both of these. These are potted, so you're going to get 3 of the 9cm pots here. I've just got everything to say to you about Geranium Rozanne. Look, there's a lovely bee having a nice time on there. They love these, they flower constantly. You don't have to do anything. I don't deadhead mine, though if you do, you'll probably get more flowers. I've never felt the need to because I always get loads of flowers. It spreads and creates a lovely sort of, lower growth. It's great for underplanting, under sort of towards the front of the border or under hedges and things. It just spreads out beautifully. I can't recommend it enough. And it did win the RHS Plant of the Centenary at the 100th Chelsea Flower Show. So I think that is accolade enough to suggest it is going to be worthy of putting in your garden. 480120 is the item number. 3 of those 9cm pots included. Now, Peony, which was the most popular, but still is incredibly popular as well. This is the girl next door, where you're going to be getting 4 of the bare root peonies, and just take a look at that beautiful flower. Oh, she's so pretty. I love her so much. I can't wait to get that in my garden, honestly. £14.99, 4 bare roots, easy to plant. You just need to soak them a little bit. Don't plant them too deep. The little buds that you'll see on them, just have them just underneath the soil surface or just poking out the top, and you will get some beautiful flowers. Hopefully you'll get some flowers this year, but next year, the year after, we're talking loads of flowers, 10, 15, 20, even more than that once this gets fully established. 580077 is the item number for the sorbet peonies girl next door. Freesias. Oh, I'm loving that these have become popular now. So 50 corms included in here. They're the doubles as well. The fragrance you get is amazing. The colour mix is really, really beautiful. And these are the heat-treated ones too. So do bear this in mind because that's going to help you to ensure that the success of getting them to grow and flower. £9.99 or £8.49 in the club, and 50 of those. So quite a lot of them, enough for you to have in pots and things, maybe a few to have so that you can cut them as flowers to bring them indoors. Maybe go for a couple of packets. Next we have our clematis, the winter collection. So it's the winter clematis collection where you've got evergreen foliage, which is, I mean, that's brilliant, isn't it? Clematis, we know, is amazing all summer long, but then it looks really straggly and boring and plain once you get to winter because it drops its leaves. But this is going to flower, or these are going to flower over winter. The freckles, which was that pinky one you were looking at, that's the longest flowering. Normally from about November right the way through to sort of April, May time, you should be having flowers on there. But you're also getting the Wisley Cream and the Early Sensation. A couple of them have the RHS AGM in there as well. And you're going to get some fragrance too. So you can have clematis all year round. If you've got your winter clematis and your summer flowering ones, you can have flowers all year. 550372 is the item number. Eryngium is up next, the blue hobbit. Now there is another variety of this, which is very similar, but gets massive. This one stays much smaller, much more compact, only getting to about 50 or 60 centimetres height and spread eventually. And I adore it. This is why I got it in my garden, because I've always liked the sort of spiky looking stuff, but for me it's about the contrast. I love the sort of softer petals and foliage and floral nature of certain things, but having this planted next to it with its spiky looking nature and then that bright vivid blue, it's the best contrast. You get 3 9cm pots and it's a half price deal at $14.97, and of course less than half price if you're in the club because you get that extra 15% discount. 560897 is the item number. Now, value bulbs, but amazing. There are no lazy bulbs in here, as Adam likes to call it. Sometimes when you get a collection, you get some lazy bulbs, some, boring ones. There are no boring ones in here. You've got Brody ear, you've got that allium molly, that yellow one you just saw. You're getting freesias included in there. There's gladioli in there. There's so many across, so 7 different varieties, 300 bulbs, works out 4 pence a bulb if you're in the club. The Liatris spicata, I love that one. I think that's really interesting. So months and months worth of flowering, loads of different sort of colours, heights. You get fragrance included in there as well, and different flowering times. So probably 6 or 7 months worth of flowering across the different seasons, and all those different colours included. Perennials come back for you year after year. Are super easy. Just plant them now, watch them flower later on in the seasons. 630130 is the item number if you want to get those. Next, we've got the snowdrops, which are in the green. You'll get 50 of them. And in the green means that they're going to come to you with shoots already coming out of the bulbs. So they've been planted, they're successful, they've been lifted. It's a short window of opportunity to get in the green, because obviously they have to be lifted while they are shooting, and that only lasts a couple of weeks. So the reason for buying these is that it ensures success. Dried bulbs, particularly for snowdrops and bluebells, which I'll show you next, can be really tricky to get started. This is the easier way of doing it. So get them in the green, it ensures that success, plant them and let them multiply in your garden. Snowdrops do like a slightly more shady spot, somewhere that's going to stay a little bit moist. 630009 if you want to go for your snowdrops in the green. And next we've got the bluebells. So English native bluebells here. So if you want to have a similar effect to your snowdrops, but just slightly later, obviously bluebells come out sort of April, May time onwards, then this is the item to go for. 630011, 25 of them in the green. £5 saving, £12.74 if you are in the club. Next we've got, or finally on the little review, we've got our skyscraper bulbs, 15 bulbs in total, 3 of each across the 5 different varieties. Tree lilies, they just grow so easily with nice, strong, sturdy, straight stems, multiple flowers at the top of each of them. First year, you'll maybe get 4 feet out of them. I got 5 out of mine. Not bragging or anything, but you know. But then they can get sort of 6 feet and maybe even a little bit taller in height. And once they get established, you could be looking at sort of 20 flowers per stem here. So just multiply that across the 15 you're going to get. We'll change the details so you can see the price on those for you, because we have got, I think it's a £20 saving on the lily bulbs. Oh, he's trying to find it. Hang on, he's got to press the button and then it will pop up.
Looking at
there we go.
Specs, you can almost smell them, can't you?
Honestly, I love the scent of lilies. I adore them. I really do. They're big, they're bold, they're showy. They're peacocks to me. That's a peacock flower.
Yeah, I used to grow an awful lot of lilies in my previous garden, and I adored them, but some of the varieties, you had to sort of get down low to see into the flower, because a lot of the flowers sort of, because that's how Stargazer was bred. Stargazer was bred so the flowers look straight out or up.
Stargazer.
So people could see into them. But a lot of lilies still, their flowers look down and you don't see the beauty inside. But with these, the skyscrapers, you can look right into that blossom and see all the intricacies, see the stamens, you can inhale the fragrance.
They're a firm favourite, honestly, every
amazing.
single year. That's one of the most popular of the bulbs that we bring. So I'm pretty sure we've got a really decent stock of those. We normally do. So there's no stock warning at all, but you do want to grab hold of those and get them planted so you can have the displays in your garden this year. 650086 is the item number. And just a quick one on the compost, of course, we have to remind you about this. This is our premium professional compost, the compost we use at the garden centre, at the nursery here. We plant stuff in this. In fact, that Callicarpa we just showed you, you can see it's in the pot there. All of our pre-made hanging baskets, we use these. Anything we pot on, anything we grow on, this is the compost we choose to use at the nursery here. If there was a better one, I promise you, we would be using it. But it's packed with amazing ingredients, which is why it's so good for our plants.
Yep, first of all, hugely peat reduced on this. Then we've got composted wood fibre, keeps the compost texture nice and open. It lets the oxygen penetrate down to the roots. It lets the water percolate through. It allows those little roots from the seeds, the cuttings, the plug plants to establish. It's got a slow release fertiliser that looks after your plants for up to 6 months and slowly feeds them. It's pH balanced, so it's not too acid, it's not too alkaline. It's got a wetting agent, which means it wants to absorb and suck in the moisture, you know, if it does dry out on occasions. And it is just a phenomenal compost. It's one of our most 5-star rated products. You know, Stu uses it, Bex uses it, I use it, my other half uses it. I mean, you know, I use it for house plants, greenhouse plants. I use it for things I plant up in the garden. I incorporate over my beds and borders. Practically anything I'm gardening with. I transplanted a plant called an Aurelia the other day, and I incorporated loads and loads of the compost into the planting hole and mix it with the topsoil before I sort of planted it again, because I knew it's going to feed that Aurelia, it's going to hold the moisture in around the root system while it's trying to grow new roots. It's just going to put it in a really, really happy place. So yeah, an amazing compost with fantastic results. That's, I think,
that's ultimately what we want. A fantastic compost with amazing results. And if you go and check the reviews on the website, in fact, I urge you to, because obviously we're going to stand here and tell you till the cows come home how good this is. But maybe it's real customer. And by the way, I am a real person and I'm a real customer. But
you're not AI.
I'm not AI, not yet anyway. It's a scary world, isn't it? AI might be doing our jobs at some point.
It could be, yeah. AI could easily do what you and I do. Yeah.
No, it couldn't. Shush.
Well, the only thing is, with AI, it wouldn't have the experience and it wouldn't have the passion.
Exactly.
And also, could AI actually have experienced the fragrance of things like a human could have?
Let's hope AI does not take over. Anyway, moving on from that. What was I even going to say? Yes, I am a real person and I am a real customer, but obviously I work here. So if you want to go and check out real customer reviews, I urge you to go onto our website and just click through the reviews. Honestly, it's amazing. It's the most 5-star rated products that we have. It's the most commented on, and it is the thing that we actually sell the most of. Out of everything, this is the thing that we sell the most of. So that's got to tell you something. And we've been bringing it to market for definitely over a decade. I'm going to say probably more like 15 years. And we constantly get repeat customers. And repeat custom, that tells you, doesn't it? If somebody comes in once and buys it, it's not the same as if somebody comes in multiple times and buys it.
I remember years ago being stuck in a traffic jam behind a lorry, and their logo on the back of this company was, "We get the best out of our products by putting the best in."
Yeah.
And I thought that's what this compost is. You know, you will get the best out of your plants by using the best compost in the first place.
100125 is the item number, and it's the lowest price right now. It's lower than it was in December, so I really want you to stock up, because I'm pretty sure they'll put the price back up again at some point soon. Right, we are... Oh, Rosemary Standard is coming up next for you. Now, this actually sold out in the week, so by the end of Thursday, we actually couldn't talk about this one because it sold out. It is now available on pre-order.
Close your eyes and have a whiff. And now, what you're thinking of that you like,
I love roast chicken.
Not just the chicken.
Chicken skin.
The crispy chicken skin.
Nobody eats it in my house. There's only me that eats it, so I get the whole... I'm going to have to cook one now.
I know. Yorkshire
I'm going to have to go and buy a roast chicken for
lovely
tea.
Crispy roast with a mint sauce. See, that's the thing with, you know, the lavender's super fragrant, the rosemary's super fragrant, and there's just something, an additional thrill to plants that have got aromatic foliage, because olfactory senses, they kind of trigger more
That's
memories.
made my mouth water.
But they do. So the sense of smell triggers more memories and emotions
It's true.
than any other of our senses. So you know, when you've got something like this that's sort of aromatic straight away. I mean, the first thing we thought of was probably because we're starving hungry, but you know, we just thought of gorgeous Sunday chicken roast dinner. But
I love it.
This is stunning. And you might have a herb garden, because I must have planted dozens, hundreds of herb gardens over the years, but you might only have a small space. You might just have one of those really old-fashioned Belfast sinks or something that you turn into a herb garden. And if you put a normal rosemary in it, quite often they can spread out and take over. But this could go in the smallest herb garden, and you could underplant right up underneath with all sorts of other herbs if you wanted to. But also, this is going to flower. You know, we always think of rosemary as just being a herb that we can eat and put on food and all that kind of thing. But it's evergreen. It has that most aromatic foliage, and then smothered in these beautiful, beautiful
I love it when it
flowers.
flowers. I actually really love it when it flowers. That normally happens in springtime, doesn't it?
Yeah, spring to early summer.
in June.
Yeah, but
yeah, and it does get. It's one of the most beautiful sights. Honestly, pollinators adore it. I haven't got a standard, but I've got a rosemary bush in my garden, and I love it. It's evergreen. It's drought tolerant. Pollinators absolutely adore it, and of course I can come out and I can cut stems off it, and I use it in my cooking. So I've got rosemary, I've got sage, and I've got rosemary, I've got thyme, and I've got bay in my garden, and those are the 3 most used herbs. Probably because I've got them in my garden.
that tip you gave last week where you said...
yeah. Cut stems off. You can remove some of the foliage like that if you go that way and remove it, and then you can use those as kebab skewers and then cook on your barbecue. So it infuses the rosemary flavour into the meat.
So you're flavouring your meat from inside out.
Yeah.
Which is phenomenal.
Stu's saying he uses it as a brush to brush his oil on. Yes, you can do that as well. So you can get like a few of them and you can hold them together, and then I brush it onto my steaks. So I put loads of butter in the pan with the steak, and then I use this to then brush the butter onto the steaks.
Whoa.
How's your roast getting on, Alwyn? 750046 is the item number for the rosemary. It's the same deal as the lavender. If you want to double up, put 2 in your basket, enter the code, and that's where you're going to get your discounts. Right, we're into the last few minutes, so we're going to have to go really, really quick. 10 items to show you, 2 minutes each. Skyscraper lilies, go.
Drama, fragrance, an abundance of flowers, height. Kind of lilies that will grow at the middle of the border, the back of the border, that will come up year after year and gradually get taller and taller, up to about 2 metres, perhaps even a little bit taller than that as well. A lovely, lovely range of colours here. You've got that lovely bi-coloured one at the base there with the lovely white edging to it. Yeah, I mean, these are just incredible lilies. You might have grown lilies before.
You haven't grown these?
No, you've probably never grown lilies like these.
No, never. £23 saving. Let's just look at that, shall we? Because you're saving way more than you're spending here. It's £16.95 or £14.41 if you are in the club. 5 varieties, 3 of each. 650086 is the item number. Get yourself to the website to place your order for those. Next, we've got our English native bluebells. Important to note, English native bluebells.
Yeah, and these would have been responsibly sourced as well.
Yeah.
You've got those carpets.
Yeah, you can't just go and pick bluebells or snowdrops.
No wildflowers. These have all been responsibly grown and sourced. Carpets of incredible purple flowers in early spring. In fact, they're a little bit early now. They never used to be. They tend to be flowering more from the beginning to the middle of April now. It used to be they'd come at the end of April into May. But spectacular, and fragrance. Everybody knows the fragrance of bluebells.
Oh, they are really beautiful, aren't they?
Really
you forget
lovely. That. Easy to grow. They just like nice, moist soil. They like soil that stays moist all the way through the summer. And you can grow these in a sunny position, but they do like to have something sheltering them after they're finished flowering. So sometimes down in the West Country, you see these growing on huge areas of moorland in full sun, but then the bracken comes up.
True.
And then they die down underneath the bracken. But dead easy to grow. Grow them in lawns, grow them wherever you want, providing they're moist and get that bit of shade in summer. And you'll have them for donkey's years and they'll spread.
630011 is the item number for your English native bluebells. 25 bulbs and saving £5 using the code. Make sure you put that in, YGTV0525. Sorbet Peony, Girl Next Door, the best peony that we have ever brought you. Everybody's been talking about this peony. We're all buying this peony. And the value, considering this is probably the showiest, most beautiful peony that we've brought you, you'd think that we'd be able to charge a premium for this. And we would be able to. But for some reason, we're being incredibly kind and we're putting 4 bare roots into the 1 packet and only charging you £12.74 if you're a club member, plus no postage on there.
Yeah, phenomenal value here, Bex, but also a phenomenal peony, a peony double layered. I mean, it's almost like 3 peony flowers in one. You've got that white central area as well, which is just mind-blowing, to be honest. And I like the way the top petals face up, the middle petals are horizontal, and the bottom petals face down. And to boot, it's fragrant. You've got fragrance in this peony as well. And once it's established, it wouldn't be unexpected to get 5 or 6, 7, 8 separate stems coming up each year, each giving you perhaps half a dozen flowers or so. So a remarkable peony, long-lived, spectacular flower, spectacular colour, gorgeous fragrance.
580077 is the item number. If you want to place your order, you can go to YouGarden.com, the website, to place your order. Or, as of today, the phone lines are actually open on a Sunday. So So apparently there are some phone orders going through. Phone number's on the bottom of the screen. Just make sure you tell the operator that you've got a code, YGTV0525. That's how you get free shipping, discounts, double up deals, anything free. That's how it all gets included in there. And if you're not a club member, do ask them about that. We don't have time to go into the details now, but amazing savings, amazing discounts and vouchers for you to spend as well. Next up, we've got, is it the Pineberry? Yeah, it's strawberry Pineberry. You're going to get 20 of these runners included. Now, it's the Pineberry, which is like a white strawberry. It's got a kind of blush tone to it. It looks weird, I know, but it is exactly like a strawberry.
It is exactly like a strawberry. It tastes just like a strawberry. I'm going to be honest with you, I've never tried one, so I'm not going to...
I've grown them.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to tell you I've tried it. I haven't tried it, but I know Bex has said, when she tries them, they do have just a little hint, of a pineapple aftertaste.
The rest of it is strawberry, but there's a tiny hint.
Yeah, grow them just like you'd grow normal strawberries, grow them where you'd grow normal strawberries. One positive I've heard about these is the birds leave them alone. Because they're not bright red, the birds think they're not ripe, so they just fly on by and leave them be.
Love that.
But try these. Gorgeous fruit, easy to grow. They'll come back year after year after year. They'll send out runners, and you can actually grow those runners to create extra plants for the future.
This is what I like about strawberry plants. Once you've got a strawberry plant, you never actually have to buy another strawberry plant. A runner typically lasts you sort of 4 or 5 years, and that's when it's spent and it's done. But every year you'll find that your strawberry plants throws out runners. We cut those off because obviously we don't want the energy going into runners. We want it going into fruit production. But the ones that you cut off, you can just simply pot it up, can't you? And you create a new plant from it. Strawberry runners tend to be at their best, at their most productive in year 3. So constantly have yourself a rolling kind of production line of runners that are just reaching year 3, and you'll always have the biggest and best
A quick
crops.
thing you can do with those is just get a little 9-centimetre pot
and
with
just put
compost.
it in.
Yeah, plunge it in the ground underneath the runner. Just pin it down into the compost. Once
Allow
it's
it to
taken root, you can sever it from the parent, and you've got another plant ready potted, ready to go.
So easy. 320099 is the item number if you want to go for the strawberry Pineberry, something a bit different, bit unusual, something that maybe the neighbours haven't got. You can wow them with those. Now, the most popular item that we've had on the show today, I think it's still in the lead, is the hardy geraniums. You're getting 10 of the bare roots included. Comes to you in the 2 bags that you can see here, but they're bare roots basically. So they're little plants with rooty bits on. You just need to plant them. The great thing here is that actually geraniums aren't going to take too long to get established. A lot of bare roots, we say you need to wait a year before they're going to really get established. You won't get amazing displays in the first year, but it's a really affordable way to buy stuff, so it's a really good idea to get bare roots. You don't have transplant shock with planting a bare root. But actually with your geraniums, you'll get a really good display in the first year.
Yeah.
They'll still get better in the later years, but you get a really good display.
These will flower this year. I'd be really, really surprised if they didn't.
I would be as well.
Yeah, and I said at the beginning of the show, when they used to be at Ideal World, Bex and I, these always used to sell out. And today they're proving to be one of the most popular items. And I think it's the colour mix. I mean, the value is phenomenal. But
it's classy, isn't it?
Yeah, that beautiful colour mix there, those purples, those pinks, the reds, the whites, and even the little striations on each of the petals there as well. They're really beguiling, unusual flowers, but they're so easy to grow. Once you plant them, you just leave them. And once they're established, they're super drought tolerant. They'll grow in shady areas, they'll grow in full sun, they'll grow in poor soils, and they'll just keep flowering for month after month after month. And they're the sort of the cranesbill type of geranium, which are lower and sort of more ground huggy. And later on we'll come on to its big brother or sister, the rozanne one, which is much more vigorous. But these are beautiful. These even look lovely on rockeries. As a lady's gardener I look after in Swaffham, she's got some of these grown on a rockery, and they look beautiful. They look lovely.
Super easy, very little maintenance, but long flowering season. Can't say better than that, can you really? 580009 if you want to go for the most popular item that we've got on our YGTV show today. You need to stock up on your compost. It's the lowest price it's been for a long time. We put the price up last year, but it's come back down again. You're paying less now than you were in December. 100125, time to stock up on that multi-order if you can. I would definitely suggest it because I think that price will go back up again at some point soon. Next, we're going over to the Eryngium, the blue hobbit, another one I've got in my garden. I adore this plant. It's beautiful. It's striking. It's like Adam. spiky but beautiful. No, I'm joking. He's not in the slightest bit spiky. I was joking.
Don't be spiky.
It's a lovely plant, honestly. I love the colour, I love the texture, and I love the contrast it provides.
I think what's insane about this particular plant is normally when you look at the flowering part of a plant, the flower is very distinctly different to the colour of the leaves and the rest of it. But here, the way the blue is sort of fused into the stems and the leaves.
Yeah.
So it literally looks like Banksy's turned up overnight and sprayed it like purple or blue and given you this wonderful,
Do you know what I reckon
wonderful
this
colour.
is what for? So when we were getting married, I wanted my husband to, and we got married in January, so it wasn't really possible, but I want him to have thistle buttonholes, because I love them. I think that would be amazing as a buttonhole, wouldn't it?
It would be fun. Well, funny enough, our friends Suzanne and Russell, they got married in October, and we had buttonholes with a teasel.
Oh, nice.
So similar kind of idea. But
I think that'd be awesome as a buttonhole, and particularly because of the colour of it.
And they dry. You can dry them. And
I'm going to do that next year. I'm going to dry mine.
And they stay that colour once you dry them.
They stay really bright.
Yeah, they stay. So the thing is, you're probably best to dry them just a little bit before the flower opens.
Yeah, like
right
before
out.
this, because this is when it was just starting to go over. Still really interesting.
And then
but
hang them upside down, hang them
Yeah.
upside in a garage or somewhere like that for a month or so, a month, 6 weeks, somewhere dark and dry.
I'll do it this year.
And you can use them as dried flowers. But these are really easy to grow. They will grow on really poor soils. Where they grow naturally, they tend to grow in really stony, pebbly, poor, open, sort of sunny positions. They're great coastal plants. They're great drought-tolerant plants. So that's the sort of place to grow them.
560897 is the item with 3 9cm pots included in there, and a half-price deal as well. Next up, we've got the Freesias for you, the heat-treated corms.
Yeah, heat treated so they'll flower for you this summer when you want them to, looking stunning, a long flowering period on these as well. And sometimes I've noticed with Freesia corms, they might send up 2 or 3 stems.
Right,
from,
so you don't just get one.
Yeah, and also each stem tends to branch off a little bit, so you get loads of flowers on these. But, I mean, 2 things for Freesias, really. The range of colours, I mean, a beautiful...
It's a rainbow, isn't it?
Yeah, a rainbow.
It is a rainbow colour.
Like your beautiful rainbow top that you normally
I know,
wear.
that lovely... Thank you.
A stunning sort of range of colours, but the fragrance from these is phenomenal. Spicy, exotic, deep, lush, intense fragrance from these. It really is absolutely fabulous.
I love it, honestly. And these are the doubles that we are talking about here. So lovely, ruffled, extra petals, petalicious flower, beautiful fragrance, and lovely colour mix. 630184 is the item number, with a £3 saving on that one. Winter clematis. Stu keeps saying that's an oxymoron. You're an oxymoron.
No, he's a
no,
nice
honestly,
bloke.
it's a very strange combination, isn't it? A winter clematis.
Yeah, well, a winter clematis.
An evergreen winter clematis.
And it's fragrant as well. So, yeah, I mean, this plant really should be in Australia this time of year, where it's midsummer. You know, it shouldn't be here in midwinter, but it is. It's brightening up our winters for us. And these are easy to grow. So I've seen these grown in various gardens over the years. All those lovely evergreen leaves. There's 3 different types here, but one of them has got very distinct foliage compared to the other 2, which is really, really nice. You've got the freckles there, which is the pink one with the lovely sort of little freckly coloration on it. Then you've got the one with the green eye to it, which I really adore, and then the pure white as well. So 3 fantastic varieties, easy to grow. The only thing we always say of clematis is always make sure they've got lovely, cool, moist root systems.
Yeah.
The top up in the sun. Feed them well, and these will look fabulous for years and years and years. And these don't really need pruning very much either.
That's true.
You can pretty much leave
Whereas
these.
Whereas your summer flowering ones do need a little bit, don't they?
Yeah, but these look really nice, scrambling up through other things that don't look good in winter.
So they don't strangle them, do they?
No.
Could you grow? We were asking this the other day. Could you grow a clematis through a rose, a climbing rose?
Grown through a rose, grown through a wisteria. If you've got a wisteria, for example, that's bare this time of year, I mean, it won't go up as high as the wisteria, but it will work its way around the base of it. So if you've got any other climber this time of year, like a honeysuckle that's deciduous, that's not looking very exciting this time of year. Grow the winter flowering clematis through
like
it,
that idea.
and they will complement each other. They won't actually kind of beat each other up and sort of compete with each other.
All right, 550372 is the item number for the winter flowering clematis. All 3 varieties included in there. Now, if you're going for your hardier geranium collection, where you're getting those 10 bare roots, you could go for your geranium rozanne included, because they'll work really nicely together. And in fact, geranium rozanne, as you were saying, gets a bit bigger, doesn't it, than the other ones?
It does, and you don't have to put the red light on for that one either.
No, you don't have to put your red light on.
Yeah, I mean, it really, really is the most amazing geranium. I mean, one of these geraniums will cover about a square metre when it gets going, and they
by year sort of 2, 3, that's when it'll have got to that size.
Yeah, so if you've got a large area to cover and it's not even particularly fantastic soil, and you want a plant that looks beautiful for months on end and flowers for a silly amount of time, probably 5 or 6 months, go for geranium rozanne. It's easy to grow, it flowers, it has hundreds and hundreds of flowers per plant, loved by the pollinating insects. And what you see here is literally what it does. I must have planted squillions of these because as soon as I saw geranium rozanne, the first time I saw it, I thought, this is a must for me. I've got to plant this.
I fell in love with it the first time I saw it as well, you know. I don't know what it was, the colour or the story behind it, the flowering season, the fact that it's got planted the centenary from the RHS Chelsea Flower Show, it all added up for me, and I had to have it in my garden. I'm so glad I've planted it, and I intend to plant more. Certainly it will feature in my next garden as well. 480120 is the item number. We are saving £5 versus the website price. Plus, there'll be no postage to pay when you buy from YGTV rather than just YG in general.
Look at the bees on it.
Yeah, I know, loads of bees. You must use the code to get the saving plus the free postage. This week's code is YGTV0525. So make sure you put that in when you're placing your order, or you tell the operator if you are using the phone lines as well. Last one on this table is our pack of 300 bulbs. This is the summer flowering bulb collection, where you're getting the 7 different varieties. As you can see, this is a bit of an artist's impression. They won't all flower at the same time, but that's a beautiful thing here, isn't it? Because you get probably about 6 or 7 months worth of flowering.
Yeah, and it's a great mix because you've got different heights, you've got different shape flowers, you've got flowers at different times, you've got bulbs that you can plant in slightly different situations. Some have got fragrance, like the Freesias, for example. Some make fantastic cut flowers, like the gladioli. Some are even quite strange, like the liatris, because they're about the only flower I know that flower from the top down.
I know, that's incredible, isn't it?
Really, really weird.
I like it.
You think of everything else like delphiniums and lupins, they start foxgloves from the bottom up. Liatris flower from the top down, which is
weird.
Yeah, strange. But there you go. That's nature for you.
Love it. 630130 is the item number. It is a half price deal, so £30 comes down to £14.99 or £12.74 in the club. Do please consider joining the club. You get a 15% discount on all of your orders throughout the year. It costs you just £10 to join. You lock in your price as well. So if you join on that auto renewal price, you've locked that price in. You'll only ever pay £10 for it as long as you keep your auto renewal going. So if we put it up to 20 quid in the future, you'll still only pay the £10. You'll get £20 worth of YouGarden vouchers. You'll get a couple of postage vouchers included in there as well. So if you're a gardener, if you love gardening and you spend money, which we all do, on gardening throughout the year, this is the place. This is where you get the best deals. By watching YGTV, where you get your free postage, but also by being a club member as well. I've saved so much money by being a club member. I know a lot of you who are already club members, you are all saving lots and lots of money by being club members. Please tell your friends about us. We love being here. It's getting bigger and bigger every single time we come live, and I'm really excited about it because I love my job. So the more people we have watching, the more chance I've got of keeping my job. But yeah, we just love our little gardening community that we are building here. So do tell your friends, get them to come and join us as well. If you ever miss a show, you can go onto the website. So that's where you can go and see, just click the YouGarden TV button. You can watch, that's where you can watch current shows, live shows, but you can go in and you can watch previous shows as well. Deals, offers, they tend to stay around and live for 2 to 3 weeks. So you can go back to previous weeks to watch anything there. The codes do stop working eventually though, so I can't guarantee that they'll be there for more than a couple of weeks. But you can go back and you can watch things back if you want to. If you want to come and join us this afternoon, myself and Adam, we will be on TikTok, so we're going to do a little live on there. There's a little counter that keeps ticking around behind us, showing us how many followers we've got. So if you want to come and join us on there, we'll be live from about 1:30 after we've had a little bit of food. What else do I need to tell you? We'll be back live again next Thursday if you'd like to come and join us then. Thank you so much for your company. Thanks for your questions, comments, emails. If you want to see more gardening, I believe Sean is still on QVC for the next half an hour. So flick over onto QVC and have a look at what he's doing. Thanks ever so much.
Thanks, Bex. Enjoyed it today. It's been
good fun, hasn't it?
Great morning. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks ever so much for your orders. Enjoy your roast dinners. Hope the sun's shining where you are. And if you want to come and see us on Thursday, please do. We'd love to have your company. Lots of love to you all. Bye-bye.